So our overnight high is almost exactly the same as yesterday. That's yesterday's overnight high. It was a pretty important level that we reacted off of, but I'm gonna say that we're gonna go with today's overnight high here. We're gonna be mindful of this high, yesterday's high, and we're gonna go with the overnight low being pretty much the same area. Once again, close. Everything was almost identical. We reclaimed 18,000 yesterday. Same thing, right into the open. Reclaimed 18,000, sort of sold off, and then battled through it, holding right there until the open. So let's see what happens here. If we're gonna get the same type of price action as yesterday, that 18,050.75 is previous day's high. So. I'm gonna do some interesting things, so gonna give me a few minutes here. All right, let's see if we got trade ideas pulled up. My trade ideas does not work. And we're open. Let's get a good trade going here. I was gonna do this short only contest thing and trade ideas, but seems like things are not working correctly for the trade ideas data, so I'm not gonna waste my time. Gonna trade what I see and make actual money. So let's go with that. Close this. Nope. All right. So we dipped right to 18,000 right there on the open. Slight pullback. Right to the 18,000 level. Let this thing kind of speed up, figure out what it wants to do. We're going to take a look at some of these names here that are going to be indicative of what we did. Right? Yesterday, I mentioned it in my, I made a video and it kind of got messed up on Instagram, so I deleted it. But what happened yesterday was the NASDAQ was unreasonably strong, I feel like, for a day that Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple, all were beaten to the lows, right? The thing about Apple here being at this low and bouncing could give our NQ a pop to the upside. Because if Apple rallies, then this NQ is probably going to have any excuse to go up. It will, just based on the strength without help yesterday, right? With Microsoft, we had Google, we had Amazon, all these names were pushing on their lows, but yet the NQ was pushing out as highs, and then finally it broke towards the end of the day yesterday to the downside. It took all day, but I mean, when all these names were weak all morning, there was no help, right? So we're gonna look to see how these names act early on and see if we get any strength from them, if the NASDAQ is gonna play along and continue upside. Any sort of break above where we're at kind of currently is gonna be like a break of the opening range high here might give us the confluence to go and take this long. Any breakdown of 18,000 and a hold below 18,000 and some weakness in these names. Microsoft. Some weakness in the Microsoft. Like I said, we have to 406.18. That's its key level there. If it breaks it and flushes it, then we're downside moving. Look at Apple, huge wick to the upside there, and then a failure. So this failure of 18,000 potentially could work out today, but we got to see what goes on with these names. NVIDIA. So we got NVIDIA, we got, let's put the Tradecaster link here in the YouTube. All right, NVIDIA trying to push on up, giving some strength. You got a break of the opening range high here. I'm going to look to see potentially to go long if we can get a confirmation through there. Just based on yesterday's complete strength overall, but you can see how choppy we were. That's yesterday's, right at the top there was yesterday's overnight high that we just ticked off on. We're kind of rotating through. So we're going to just be patient. We're going to watch it, see what happens. We are funded in one more 50K yesterday. We're halfway there on another. And we're going to possibly take a long here if these names start to pop. If NVIDIA starts to continue to the upside, if Microsoft does, and if Apple bounces off of 180. But that huge wick there isn't very helpful, right? I think I want to let it breathe for a few minutes before I decide to make a decision, because these names went up, went down, went up, went down. They really haven't decided. We do have a data release at 9 o'clock. Let's see, 9 o'clock. The number is going, oops, that's the wrong thing. Oh, we had durable goods at 7:30. And we just have Fed speakers and consumer confidence at 9. The durable good orders, actual negative 6.1, forecast was negative 4, possibly weakening. NVIDIA just failing at 793 level at the moment, and the NQ is pushing up. S&Ps are trying to push to the downside. Might get some downside pressure through 18. But it's such a key level that it might be too obvious at the moment. Apple right to 180 again. We're dancing around quite a bit. That 5-minute candle closed. Not really much to it. A big wick up on the Apple and then a sell-off. NVIDIA, it kind of seems like it's curling up, but then now you see all these other names, like I said, getting heavy again. Could this heaviness be the continuation of yesterday, finally breaking 18,000? It looks like it's getting heavy again. There you go. There's NVIDIA breaking down. I think if we crack 18, we get to flush. But it's hard to say right this second. It's still deciding. It's still dancing around. You still have Apple bouncing. You still have Microsoft pushing to highs. NVIDIA is rolling over from that 793, 78. Might bounce from 785 if Apple does go up as well. So we're going to watch. We're going to see. So right dead center of that opening range. We failed to break above that first time and failed to break below. So, I mean, this is going to be the second break below 18,000. So maybe that's the true break. And then above this opening range high here, if you get a bounce on any of these names. But at the moment, it doesn't kind of look like that. It looks like pretty heaviness. Microsoft. I'll trust the first break of it. So if we do get a flush there, I want to be involved. Nvidia crushed that low level there. Apple tried to bounce, failed to bounce. Let's see if we can get this thing to roll. There we go. We're in short. We're gonna see how far down we could take this. I'm gonna give it my best shot. See where it goes. $18,000 needs to hold. Apple caught a little bit of a bounce. Microsoft, not quite. And Nvidia, there we go. Just getting that complete flush to the downside. Pushing down nicely. See if we can get a roll over here. Looks like we are continuing. In one of my other combines, I am short 3 full contracts. Look up about 900 on it, about 1,000 on it right now. Secured about 600 of it. Actually, no, I'm going to take off 2.
Order filled.
I really want to break even. See if it goes, see how far it goes to the downside. In our funded account here, we are going to leave our stop where it is and see if we can leave the high of the day there. I trust that the breakdown of 18,000 will continue if we can get this to push a little bit further with these other names. As long as these other names are playing along, it seems like NASDAQ today decided that it's going to play along as well. You know, yesterday, like I said, it was holding up unnecessarily, not unnecessarily, but it was holding up way stronger. I'm going to go to break even, so it's a free trade. Now we see just where it goes. If we can rotate all the way to overnight lows, that'd be fantastic. Right now, we're just going to let it continue to the downside. Patience here. Patience pays. We were short just below 18,000. We're just above break even at the moment. Sitting about $130 in profit, which is about 130, 145 ticks or so. I got my stop set above here now. I'm going to go candle to candle on this. See how far down we could take it. I think we can get to that overnight low for sure. That would be the goal.
Order filled.
My Top Step X account, the combine is now up 1,076. I'm flat on it. I have to limit my wins on that because I don't want to have to overtrade that. So that account is done trading for the day. Up 1,076 on that trade there. We took 2 off, and now we have this flush going on right now. So good move there on that account. We just have to limit our wins there. That's excellent. Good trade, good call in the short so far. I thought the flush on this 18,000 was going to be the key. It seems like that's the case. We're going to see if we can get the full rotation to the overnight low. If we get that full rotation to overnight lows, I'm just going to continue to trail this. I'm going to start to get a little tighter on it. I don't see any reason why to get out other than that we clean. I'm going to take off 1 there at the very low because that's just my strategy. Rotate high to low. That was that volume node there. But I think we still have downside pressure to move. 68 is really that level that's going to be important. That's the bottom end of this little liquidity area. If there's anything that's telling you to go long, then let me know because then I'll hop out. I don't think that there is at the moment though. We caught this short. Pretty happy about everything right now. Made everything we made yesterday and then some so far. I've secured 100, a little over $100. Still trading the micros on this account, trying to dig out of the hole. Almost there. just showing you day-to-day basis, just having a plan, having a good idea on what you want to do with your day, and then just executing on that plan every time. Sometimes it's going to play out, sometimes it's not. And the days that it does play out, you got to maximize your gains on it, right? Could have went in a little bit heavier on it, but 2 is really just trying to dig out of the hole, like I said. So if you caught that trade with a full contract, like I said, I had that Top Step X account up 1,000, a little over 1,000. I could make 1,500 on the day, but I limited that, secured that profit. I can make another tomorrow, and we'll be past a third account. We're $600 away from passing the third account, so there's no rush on that. Still would have to trade another day anyway. So like you see, we can do it on a pretty consistent basis. We pass, we make money, we continue on, we do what we need to do. Good morning, American. How we doing? We are in this short from just about 18,000, 17,998.75. There's no really looking back on this. I am saying that I want to take one off at the overnight low just because that's my normal target. But you can see Apple is tanking. Microsoft was rolling over, also tanking right through its level, 406.18. Nvidia flushing super hard. I mean, it's gotten now to that area of interest for me where it could bounce. So that's just the only thing that I'm concerned about there. But otherwise, I think we could still get to that overnight low. Already in Nvidia, Apple. If Apple continues to push down, Microsoft continues to push down, we are still in good shape here. If it holds below 406.18, still a good short. I have my stop up here above that volume, low volume node there. 68, I believe, is a good key level. You can see here, we got right down below this low, previous low there. I think we can probably get into that 17.9. That was a good target idea before. I want to try and get it to push. We were at this volume node there. That was the previous day's close, so we closed that gap right away. Could have took one off there and then left the other runner on, but I'm going to keep my stop where it is. Like I said, we secured about 100 ticks there, 104 ticks, 100 and some odd ticks. So anything lower than this, I'm looking to try and maximize my gains on days where I actually make the right call early. There's really no buying coming in right now. That's all. Everything else is. This might be just profit taking at the lows from some of these other names because, like I said, Microsoft's down there. Apple is down at 180.40. Nvidia. My thought was that this is that liquidity zone there, 775. You saw that big wick down, but we could get another push. Nvidia pushes, then this continues to push as well. So watch your equities. Understand why yesterday was the NASDAQ was all morning, all the way until the afternoon, really. It was strong despite weak names, right? Nvidia wasn't really pumping. Microsoft was rolling over. Apple was rolling over. Things were getting heavy in the morning, and the NQ was getting below 18, but rallying. Getting above 18, but rallying. And then at the end of the day, finally 18,000, like at the very last minute of the day, 18,000 cracked, and we had that good flush to the downside with some of these other names playing along. Now today, you open up above 18,000, you get that good first flush with these names actually also tanking, and then you got that congruence, that confluence to have your trade continue in that direction. So I'm gonna just leave my stop there. I would maybe even like to leave it higher because this is super heavy. However, I'm securing that trade. I'm willing to give back that kind of money, even though it seems like a lot. I gave back 100 ticks if this gets stopped out. But I think that, my thought process on it is it shouldn't come back up into that range. It shouldn't push all the way back up if it's going to continue downside, and to maximize some of my gains there. So if you get stopped out, you get stopped out. It is what it is. That's just kind of how the game works. But, you got to put it in a spot where it's maybe tucked away or something like that, where you're not going to get hit on it. And then maybe if you get another flush, you could add on a contract and then take one off, which I may do below the close. add one more below the close here. You add a third contract. If you get another flush, then take that one off at the overnight low and then have two on still. And we're stopped out, flat, up 110. That was a good trade there. The only thing that I could have done differently possibly was taking one off at that 95, but I mean, really, I'm not really worried about it, to be honest with you, because it's about the same. You take off one there, and then you leave the stop at break even, or you put one on. But I'm gonna look to add a second somewhere along the line here. We're up 110 on this account, and a little over 1,076 on that other combine. We have another 50K that we got funded that we do not have the credentials to yet, but we will. So we're up 110. And basically, if you're following along with the micros, trying to dig out of that hole, we are up. We're having a good winning streak. But that if you can consider my profit there, it's basically how many ticks we've captured, because 2 micros is $1 per tick. So 100 ticks a day will be very happy campers moving forward, especially when we switch back to full contracts. As you can see, we did catch that $1,000 on that combine with our actual position sizes. I was going to do the short only tournament with the trade ideas, but it does not work for me, so I don't know. I'm going to email them and say, hey, just because I thought it would be a fun thing, but really, I mean, it doesn't matter, to be honest. At this point, I'm already probably so far behind because they because they had the people trading probably pre-market. Let's see what the leaderboard is. Maybe I don't have the newest version. I don't know. $5.6.7. I'm not really worried about it. Let's make real money. Maybe tomorrow I'll do the short only tournament. I want to see if my data is set back up in my brokerage. Give me a minute. So you got that pushed up there right into our zone. Probably looking to get another short involved there. Let me get rid of this. Oop, I don't want that up there. They might still be locked out at the moment. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I gotta wait. NVIDIA, Microsoft went to 406.18 and failed it. Apple bounced to the high end of the zone and looking to reaccept. So this short idea could come into play again. We're going to probably look to short it right here. This would have been a good add location instead of a stop out, but risk back to VWAP maybe. Yeah, I'm going to give it time to set back up. See that wick, NVIDIA pushing back down. Yeah, I'm not looking to jump right in right this second, but it could be a good location. Let's see if it gets up to 18,000 and if we could short it again up there. once you see that little wiki body there and that rotation to the higher side, secure. I'm not really worried about it. It's all good. We managed the position as well as we could. We're trying to trail to maximize profits. We're not trying to trail based on P&Ls. And based on the way the price action is working, above 68 to me was a level that I wanted to be mindful of and probably be out. And you can see why, right? We're at 68. We were stopped at 71. So I gave myself a little room over that 68 point. But you can see here, this was 68, 70, 68, 68. So these lows here were an acceptance and back as support. So I was looking to see, I want to be out if it gets to here because that's probably going to continue to rally on up. So good thing we did not. And also good thing we did not just jump into re-enter here because I don't think that this might not want to continue to flush at the moment. One for one on the day, looking to get another one. See what we can grab. Like I said, let's see. Let me give you the link here, buddy. You could go. Where'd it go? Still pushing a little bit higher. Nothing that we are really worried too much about at the moment. Let's copy this. Bam. All right, so now we got my 50K login now for my Express funded. So I can make some money on that account. If I see a good opportunity, we will trade it with full contracts. So I will be talking about that. You can see the rally coming in here in Apple after we flushed down into that zone and we popped up. Microsoft probably also, it's right above 406.18, trying to fail it. Nvidia, just super heavy right there. But not quite giving you that flush. So let's see what Microsoft does. If this is going to be the name that sort of leads us through where we're going to head on the day. We already caught that one good trade there. Now we're just looking for the next good setup, see where we can end up. If I can get tilt to be pretty heavy, up back by 18,000 again, if it's going to get long at 18,000, give me some sort of wick off on that level, somewhere in there. Maybe even just before it, in that 995 area. You get a little wick action. You get a heavy long tilt, long on the tilt. And Microsoft and Apple fail, then maybe. But it looks like they're trying to reject that level. Overall, we talked out that first trade there. It was really, really good. We just saw the heaviness. We weren't really able to hold up over that 18,000 level. You're getting NVIDIA to start to catch a bid here. Microsoft, I'm sure, also is holding 406.18. And Apple is bouncing from that 180.40. Getting closer to VWAP, right at VWAP right now. Pushing upside. We're going to attack 18,000, it seems. Let's see if it rips through 18,000 or if it's going to reject it. I'm not going to play with that level right this second. I'm going to let it give me some ideas. It's only 68% long on that tilt. So not, at this 995 level where I was talking right here, we didn't get heavy long yet. So it still probably has some upside. You got the 30-minute candles here. S&P's wicked off the bottom. And then we're gonna see at 9 o'clock we do get another number. It's not like a heavy number, but it is still something. 9 o'clock we get consumer confidence. So, oh, thank you, Max. You bringing in the coffee? Thank you for the espresso, buddy. Yummy. Let's see. If you're looking at the 30 minutes, you can see
It looks like a shark.
this was resistance, support, support, support. And now we wicked all of this whole big range here. And now maybe we're trying to rotate back above 18,000. But, you know, we're going to have to see what happens with the consumer confidence number. Consumer confidence. We got tilt only 50-50. So I think we're going to wait till this 9 o'clock. Obviously, my rules say no entries within 5 minutes of an hourly close. So that's just going to keep me out anyway. But really, we want to see what happens with this 9 o'clock consumer confidence number anyway. See what kind of whippy algo action we get. If they want to get us above 18 and rally, or if they want to roll over, we'll see. The overnight high and the overnight low are right pretty much dead center between the two of them. We never cleaned up either or, so we see which one actually gets touched today. Or if we don't, we'll just stay range bound in here. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think one of those directions is going to get touched. What are you looking for, Max?
I can't see it. I can't see it anywhere.
There's that algo push up to the upside. The consumer confidence was 106.7, which is down from that 115. So the number beat the down. I mean, it didn't beat it. Downside pressure. So 18,000 cracked, and now we're pushing higher and higher and higher. Let's see what some of these other names are doing. See if there's anything to it. I don't want to play with the algos right now, so I go let it clean up. Let it decide what it wants to do for a few minutes. You see that wick up there, right up to this other VWAP that I have that for some reason keeps populating itself onto this chart. Microsoft catching a bid. Nvidia pushing right up into that resistance level, but if it breaks through and holds, then you could get that rally to continue. But I'm giving the algos a few minutes to calm down. 65% long. Microsoft rallying pretty well. Apple also bounced nice. Nvidia. I think now that we've reclaimed 18,000, watch the break of this opening range high. The break of the opening range high pushes us up. I don't know what this is. This is a longer term VWAP, I guess. Could act as resistance. A break above. We're going to be watching yesterday's high, which is this 18,059 3/4. Now the algos are starting to possibly slow up a little bit. You did get rejection in this zone here. This is a key zone for me. Obviously, it's played out pretty nice over the last few days of just how it's been reacting. So I'm going to be cautiously considering a breakout of the high, because if these names hold their lows, they are in due for a bounce. Also, with that consumer confidence number being lower than anticipated, it gives them that Fed thought of, hey, rate cuts may come at some point. You know, I'm going to say the earliest June, but, you know, they are pricing that in. So That's what we're looking at now moving forward. The earnings are all done on these bigger names. Failed at 18,000 again. Is this a true fail of 18,000, or is this going to be a liquidity grab, rotate higher? That's my thought on it. I think I may take a break above the highs. There's opening range high if this 18,000 holds here, because you saw yesterday. Where were we? Yesterday we did this sort of same dance where you flushed 18,000 and you ripped up higher. I kind of want to see something like that happen if 18,000 holds, and if some of these other names are going to catch bids, but they are kind of pushing downside. Microsoft at 406.18 is pretty huge. I think that's a bounce point. I didn't see it until it gets super heavy. I also didn't look at it per se. I want to see this thing kind of get either really heavy through 18,000 and not look back. You start getting a delta divergence here maybe. You push up again. Then you break it the second time. That second break, maybe I'll take the short. But right now, I don't have that huge confidence in it. I'm going to leave Microsoft up on that chart so I can see it, but you guys can't. And then I'm leaving Apple here, which is rolling. 18,000 failed again. But it's not failing with strength, right? You're not seeing this key level just dumping off, which is what you would see if there's going to be some strength. So I think maybe a breakout of the high does get you some continuation, probably to the overnight high and then up into yesterday's high. That's if 18,000 holds. That's if these names are going to continue to catch support here at their major support levels, right? And NVIDIA and Microsoft. I'll leave Apple there. Let's Google. Google push down. Amazon still holding below that 174. So things are still heavy. That pop might have just been that final pop up into that liquidity zone. But I need to see maybe a push up a little bit. But that was a good flush there. So that was the actual good flush of it. You got the delta push. Everything kind of played along together nicely. Kind of cracked this little rising trend line there. We're still up on the day. We're not trying to force anything in, right? I'm not looking to just jump in because I think maybe this, maybe that, maybe this. I want to see something set up. I want to see something that's going to get me to limit my risk and be able to push one way or the other way. Anybody who's watched this stream here and there for any period of time knows that I like to fade extremes. However, I do feel the market out on a day-to-day basis, and if something like this happens, like yesterday where 1800 gave it up but also pushed, gave it up but also pushed, gave it up and then finally gave it up, rolled over, but then came back to it again. Longer term, it does look bearish. I am 100% a bear in this market, but at the same time, it is difficult to kind of play what has been happening over the past few weeks. You have this descending wedge type deal, or whatever you would call it. It's even bull flaggy, right? You got a rally up here. What is this? This should not be there. I wonder, I can't see anything. Huge rally, rest, not really breaking down through lows. Really does have into that 17.9 to catch a pop, but that's really what I'm watching on these names. Apple at its support level there, bouncing off support. Microsoft also 406.18, very important. You reclaimed 18,000 once again. Like I said, we're trying to do that little dance here. Yes, that was a good break, and now we're getting a secondary push up. If we break the high with some good delta, then that's actual buyers coming in there. So that's what I'm looking for. And a bounce on Apple and a bounce on Microsoft will get us there. A flush in those names could keep us below 18,000. We're up 110 ticks on the day. Both on this XFA and on one of the 50K combines. I'm not going to trade any more on that 50K. We're up 1,000 on that, and we only need about 600 to get that third funded account. We just got the credentials sent to us for the second 50K express funded account, so we're going to be trading that possibly as well. Full contracts. Can look to go long on something possibly over there. I'll let you know if I do. Really trying to manage these accounts in a little bit of different ways because this is drawn down, this 100K. I'm trading micros on it, so that's why you see 110 instead of 1100 or whatever we would be at based on the way we traded the combine numbers. We're just trying to dig our way out of this hole one day at a time, build up that buffer so we can get back to full minis and then start to actually make our good profits again. We're just developing good habits, right? Trying to get a real good feel for the market, get an understanding of where price wants to go, and then go from there. I think we could get this long here through. I don't want to cheat on it, but maybe I will. If I could get above, I'm going to let it get to the high. I'll let it get to the high, tell me I'm right, and then I can take it to that overnight high and then possibly yesterday's high if it's going to play that game, because Apple is running up from its support, right? Apple, Microsoft rejecting, giving you that idea that potentially this is going to push, and NVIDIA also trying to crack above there. So let's see. My only concern here too, I have multiple concerns on it. This is like a nice little delta divergence setup, right? You didn't quite make new highs. You are getting now it's not, right? Now Delta's trying to push through. You're starting to catch a bid, but my Apple hit the high end of the pre-market level and it ran into some resistance there. So at some point 18,000 fails again, then you get a really good hard flush, and I don't want to be in front of that. But it seems like it's the harder trade at the moment. Tilt's only 60% long, so it could still continue on upside. The risk on 1-2 contracts here on a funded Express 50K. What's worth the risk? I don't like it, right? Mid-range, right? Middle of the overnight. I liked it the first time because we got that. It was easy, right? If we failed to break out, any sort of failed to break, flush of that 18 should get us to continue down, which it did, right? I mean, if we're going to continue this bearish momentum on the day, you come back to 18,000 and you want to fail it again. S&P's is pushing down a little bit before the NQ, so we'll watch that. Microsoft's pushing. Apple ran into that high end of resistance of the pre-market session and it's failed a bit. So NVIDIA is pushing up though. So you have these three names that are sort of fighting each other here that are going to be pretty important to this if it does decide to pick a direction. We're 50-50 on tilt. I want to join whichever direction it wants to go and not guess which direction it goes, if that makes any sense. There's no need to cheat on it. If it breaks out and goes, I can get in a little late and still be good because that's the direction it's picked after this kind of unwinding. If I get in here and then it goes long and short and you're stopped out on a fake out, same deal to the bottom. If we can crack and hold below 18, now you're confirming that we're continuing a downside pressure. Some of these other names are starting to get heavy again, like Apple. Microsoft's still pushing on the lows, and NVIDIA is breaking above that 785.80. So this is the only name that's holding this up. So if NVIDIA does give up the goat at 785 and 78 cents, then this could rotate down. If it holds and Apple catches back up and Microsoft catches back up, then the rally is on. But like I said, since they're at these support levels, without a breakdown, this is going to hold up. You get that breakdown, that flush, then this is where this is going. And it's not quite a delta divergence for me because we're trying to make new highs with the delta. New buyers are coming in here. More buyers are coming in than were here when it was trying to push through higher before. So I think it's more likely that this goes upside than downside. Holding 18. Holding 18, holding 18. One more touchdown below 18 and then a push up. Nothing's happening. This is just price winding up, winding up, winding up. Microsoft looking to pop. Maybe Apple can pop here. If Nvidia is still holding up, it is. I think the long is possibly more likely than the short. But also at the same time, you're not getting the new buyers to come in now. You're getting that flattening behavior where potentially if any of these start to sell off, then the sell comes in as well. So this is what happens when you're in this sort of middle of everything, right? I'm middle of the overnight high to overnight low. I'm pretty much dead center of the opening range. So basically you opened and now we're just sitting right there where all these orders were. So this opening range needs to be figured out before any sort of idea happens. We may come up to the top here, wick it out, and then roll back down again like we did here. So I'm not going to enter anything right now. I'm more on the side of error on caution at these levels at the moment because it's just super indecisive. If you saw yesterday's price action, right? This is all yesterday. I made good money on it. I mean, not great. I passed a combine, earned myself back a 50K, got up 1,000 on another one, and then on this account we made 170, right? But that's equivalent of if we're trading the full contracts at 1,100, right? So we were able to catch the moves that happened by being patient, right? You can see this sort of winding up is sort of what's happening right now, and catch just a piece of that. We caught a small move over here on another breakdown. You just got to kind of wait in this kind of choppy environment to decide on what you're actually going to do. There's no need to get yourself chopped for no reason, right? So, oh, hell yeah. Good stuff. I haven't seen many individual names. I've only focused, the only real individual names I've really been looking at is anything that's going to affect my NASDAQ trades. So NCLH. Let's see. NCLH. Nice. Where were you long from? From today or yesterday? Or that was a good little bit. Surprise negative earnings and still popped. Revenues up 1.3%. 1750. Word up. Nice. Take that money and run. Well, let it run. See if it'll keep going. I don't know if it's cruise lines, man. When I was trading with the prop firms, let's see, 60. Daily. These cruise lines got crushed during that COVID time, right? Look at how badly they got beat down. So there is tons of room if you could get them to start to, build back these earnings. Yeah, you could see this thing got absolutely demolished during COVID time, and you're sitting on these lows. Is there a chance they roll back over? I don't think so. I mean, a lot of people I know started going back on cruises again, so potentially, I don't really do cruises because I don't feel like being stuck on a boat, but I do know that they are very popular and they make pretty good money. So any sort of decent earnings, any sort of decent ideas on it, we'll probably get this thing to start to give you a little bit of a pop up. And I mean, if you're in at 1750 and you could hold longer term, you know, there's room to the upside for a bit. I don't think you get all the way back to the highs, I think, because there's always going to be that concern. There's the break of the NQ to the high side a little bit, but you can see Microsoft not playing. Apple did bid up a little bit. Nvidia cracked up. Yeah, 2022 seems like a fair target for it. Microsoft pushing. My thought was let this opening range kind of settle itself out first. I was considering originally taking the long here on the break of this, and it still could play out nicely, but realistically for me, I don't have conviction in it just based on the way price action's been acting. We do have a big seller here at 20, so let's see if he disappears or if he comes into play. Looks like he just disappeared. I don't know if he got filled. A crack, an actual confirmation break above this opening range high could lead you to 1840, that overnight high, 1841 and a quarter. I was considering taking this long. I wanted to kind of get into it, but I didn't trust the way price has been acting so far today. Apple giving you a good push up now. Microsoft. I was talking about it based on these support levels, right? If all these names get to these support levels, and then you get a name like Nvidia to kind of continue to the upside, that gives you that extra bit of reason for the NASDAQ to kind of keep continuing to pump. So there's the breakout above the opening range high. I was talking about this where I was originally considering taking this long exactly where it was, and then I shied away from it. We are at 75% long on the tilt on retail. To me, that tells me there's a potential for failure on this breakout. I'm not normally a breakout trader, so for me to want to have to take a breakout, it's got to be something that's A plus, and this is not that for me, especially with these names at their lows and potentially. I mean, they are going to bounce here. They are taking their bounce. There's Apple through the high of the day, which is fantastic on Apple. Look at that bounce right off that zone there. Big. I talk about the zone in my weekly write-up. If you go take a look, I talk about Apple there. I talk about Microsoft at 406.18. You got that same exact level there, that bounce from that. So I did mention that if you did get to those levels and the NQ was at a point where it could bounce, then if these names catch any sort of bid, that'll give you that drive up to the upside once again. I just don't trust this long because of the tilt. The delta was pretty nice, but you got to that value area high. You got to this little pre-market high there. Do we fail 18,000 after a breakout like this? That to me would be more of a convincing idea on a short to really maximize a potential downside move, because you did just clean up this overnight. This high of the day, and then you failed it. So the failed breakout of the high of the day gives me some confidence that if this doesn't hold, that there's either stops down here or there's some sort of, not as a counter trend. It's a harder trade, right? To short this now down here instead of shorting it up there. It seems like you want to short at the high and rotate it down, but I'm not convinced that this won't continue to break out either, right? I'm still in indecision mode, and that is a point for me to stay out of the markets. Not because I'm up. Yes, that helps. I executed this trade exactly how I wanted to, and if we would have continued downside, we would have maximized our profits on it, but we got stopped out at a location where we figured if we get above here, it's probably going to rotate the highs, and what do you know? It rotated the highs. So we did a really good job of understanding the point of where it would have probably broken out from. Could have just trailed it super tight and took profits off at the close, yesterday's close, but I decided that was not the end of the run, and I'm not trying to limit my downside, my profit potential on this. So I trailed it based on my trailing rules, kind of above these little consolidation areas, because if it would have wanted to flush to the overnight low, we would have wanted to stay in. So we caught 100 ticks. Happy with that. This is where I'm considering this to be a failure of the low below 18,000. That's where I want to be entering. I'll take a short below 18 again. What the hell is that? All right, I gotta see what's going on there. Orders? Is there orders out there? No. Oh, maybe it was a take profit or something. 2. I want to sell below 18. I want to stop loss there. Okay, that works. Sometimes the orders get funky. A failure of 18,000 to me, after a break of the high, gives me a little bit of an added thought of this may want to go. And you know what? I'm not going to take that. I'll take it below this wick here because I think maybe that's really where same entry we had before. Screw it. We'll take the same exact entry we had, the same amount of risk with these 2 micros. We'll risk what we earned. We'll still be positive on the day, but I think the profit potential down to at least the overnight lows is more likely if we fail the breakout of the high of the day, fail the 18,000 level again. You got Microsoft looking to push back down. Apple failed the breakout as well. Nvidia trying to push up, but it's got some work to do if it wants to continue on. So if this does continue to break out, cool. But if it fails 18,000 with sort of a big flush to the downside somewhere, I have my order there and it's ready to go. That's really my idea, is confirming that I'm right. Let's get through the bottom. Let's push. And then that flush could get us to be where we're at. I'm not entering a short up here because I think, hey, there's a chance that any sort of little bit of a bid in Nvidia or a bid in Apple could get us to continue to rally to the high side. And I'm not playing that breakout right now because I don't quite trust it. I think a lot of these breakouts fail. So the failures of 18,000 is really what I'm playing as the idea for the day. I would love to see Apple get down to that 180. That means that we're making this thing work out. Microsoft, nope. Microsoft rotating down. Ray in here texted me and he was talking about a thing that I kind of want to talk about to anybody who is watching that may get into something on accident or something weird happens in the trade. If something happens that you didn't plan and something that you just things aren't correct, let's say his issue was a trade copier. So his trade copier, he's trying to copy some combines. He entered on one, but he thought it was the leader. It wasn't. Then he switched the copier on. Then everything kind of got funky. He was up in profit and decided that once everything got a little weird, he cut it. Smaller winner or whatever. And he was mad that he didn't catch the runner because things didn't work right. But realistically, if you can do something like that, if you can get out of a trade that you didn't plan, you didn't mean to do, and even if it works for you, why would you want that to be something that you make money on? Because it's something that you'll do in the future, right? If you think, oh, I made a mistake, I'll just let it run, then you're that's not going to help you, right? If you do that in the future, you're going to get yourself into trouble. So you're better to develop a good habit than to, we are in short below 18,000 on both accounts. I just got my combine, my 50K credentials. So any sort of flush at 18,000, we're going to take this to the downside. The 50K we're risking about 250 and seeing how far we could take this down. I want to get down to overnight lows or beyond. I would love to see that happen. If not, no worries. We're sitting on this VWAP right now. I think we could flush this. Any break at 18,000 after a failed breakout to the high side, to me just seems like that's more likely to fail and continue lower. You can see Apple pushing lower. You can see Microsoft pushing lower. Right off that 406.18. 406.18 fails. Look out below. Nvidia failing that 785.78 unless that's a liquidity grab. I don't think so. I think it's going to continue to rotate downside. I think we were just patient. We were waiting. Yes, we got in way lower than you would have liked to, as far as like, oh, I can pick the top. But that's not the strategy here on this. We're trying to get a good flush of a level and then break it down with, stops going off and people now piling into a short instead of just trying to wick in and get out, Apple, I need it to roll. See if 18,000 can hold. If it does, then we are going to be stopped out on this. But I think any sort of rollover in Apple or Microsoft bounced exactly to a tick off that 18. Look at that. 406.18 bounce. 18,000 bounce. But I thought the flush of 18,000 would get us a little bit more of a push. It doesn't seem like it wants to continue. We're trying. We're grabbing some liquidity here, coming up into that VWAP area. Or whatever this thing is that I don't know why it's there. The longer term VWAP. We held VWAP to a tick here as well. So, sometimes the ideas don't play out. Sometimes they do. But we're still in this trade. We have our stop at a good location. If we get stopped out, we get stopped out. So be it. We tried our shot at it. So now Microsoft's rolling back downside. Apple looking like it wants to roll too. I think we can continue this downside push. If Nvidia also plays with us. Yes, there it goes. Will this push of 18,000 get us to go? Will it? Wants to hold it. It kind of wants to hold it with that point of control right now. Accept your risk and then just go with it, right? If it rallies, if Nvidia rallies here, it is what it is, Patience. Just gonna let it do its thing, right? I have that stop set where I thought it would. If I'm wrong, it's wrong, right? That's the long idea. That's where I was gonna go long before if it decided to break out again. So that is the out at 16,020. If it fails here, then great. It looks like it's kind of holding up, but Nvidia is trying to break down. Microsoft also just wicked that 406.18 again and didn't quite break it. If we fail 18,000, then we'll be probably rolling everything over pretty hard. Apple is pushing downside some. Our stop's in an okay location. Nvidia just trying to hold it, but I don't think it can. It's trying to hold that 784, 78, 84. There's a breakdown of it. One more time, a good push down could get our position back to green. And then if we get back through 18,000, I think you get that real good sell side move here. Just timing wise, I think we can get it. But if it doesn't, if it pops, then we're out. And we just look to see what happens next time at 18,000. was about 60% long on the tilt, so potentially a harder trade to go short. Still pushing down a little bit, kind of right at that point of control. It's an area of interest for a bounce, so that's, be mindful of that. Nvidia still holding that level. Apple is just trying to push down. Microsoft also looking to try and crack that 406.18. I think if Nvidia goes here, then we'll be back below 18. But if Nvidia can hold this area and give it another bounce, another leg up, then that's when we get out. But really, that's just what we're watching here. There's a push up, push up, push up. I'm going to get stopped on the 50K. It's going to wick that high. Yeah, we're stopped on that one. But we're going to hold this for now. See if this will play out. Proper amount of room on it. Waiting for this failure to come in. It wants to come. I know it's there. It has that heaviness to it. You got that delta divergence there. All these names are getting heavy again. I think if you give up the goat at 18,000, things still continue to flush. We're here. We're waiting. We're very patient on this. And we're going to just see what happens on this now. Try to push to the downside one more time. There's that break on Nvidia. Do we follow with the NASDAQ or not? Microsoft broke too. 406.18 cracked. 406.18 broke. 406.18 now breaking down. 406. There's the push. It's starting to get heavy. We're breaking down now. If 18,000 fails, watch out below. This thing could sell off for the rest of the day if we can break through 18,000 right here. Come on now. Let's get this down. Come on, baby. Break through 18. Give it to me. Give it to me now. 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 Apple still looking to sell off on those highs. Microsoft still holding 18, holding 18, holding 18. We can break it. If we can break it, we're gonna do a sell again on the top step X 50K. If we can break 18. Seems like we're holding it though. Ew, come on now. Hold. That was a really good hold of 18. Still a lower high. Still sort of wedging down. And Apple bouncing. Nvidia still trying to catch that wet level there again. Hot damn. 18,000 just did not want to break there. So potentially looking to get out of this above this level there. That's going to be it for that. We're going to flatten these. Get rid of that order. There's a flat move. So we're up 26 bucks on this account now. I gotta update this. 26 bucks. Up $26. Oh, but it's green, baby. Green. Sitting here, waiting for this 18,000 to break through. Some of these names still trying to hold up a touch, but I think we can get this to roll. Microsoft holding that level. Apple still kind of just flattened out a little. I'll give it one more shot at it if it does want to break through at 18,000. That's just my level that I'm going to play right now. yesterday was different feeling. Today it feels like that 18,000 really wants to go. You got Microsoft breaking down. I think we can get through 18,000. On one of these cracks, you get a really good push down. If not, you just get stopped out again. You accept the risk and you continue to move. Look for that next trade. We're 1-1. We took one loser here, got stopped out on that. We took a one good winner, and I think if we can catch this now on a good push to the downside, then we will be in on a banger winner. But we're gonna see what happens with it. Trading micros over here, trying to draw myself back out of drawdown on that funded account. Same with the Top Step X account now. Took a loss on that one. And look to see if we can get a third funded. We have that one up about almost just a couple $100 away from passing a third one. So we got 3 in the works. Wow, we're in short now.
Order filled.
Any sort of pop, or we're going to get quick out. But I think we can get this flush now to continue us down. Hopefully we can break the low. If we can break the low at 991, then this should continue to flush. 991 is that bottom end there. So there you go. There's a breakdown. Let's see if we can break through VWAP. If we break through VWAP, a heavier sellers come in, then we should be in good shape with this trade. Shouldn't look back towards the highs yet again. I think we could possibly look to see this all the way down to that overnight low. If we could get through VWAP here, that's the biggest key of this trade at the moment. So we're going to be patient with it. We're going to let that thing kind of dance around a bit, see if we can flush it. And then we're going to go and trail down as we move through this bottom here. 787, 987 is another level that we got to watch. 987, you should want to break through there. 987, hold below 18,000. The hold below 18,000 gives us that flush down further. Microsoft, Nvidia, all still pushing downside. Apple is pushing down now, giving you a little bit of a help. But we're kind of trying to regain 18, but not getting there. We have our stop in a location where we're fine with that being the out. If it comes up and stops us out, it is what it is, because that means 18,000 got recovered and upside they go, and probably beyond from there. So we don't want to be playing around if it continues on up through there. But I think if we play with this level a little bit, we may be able to roll over. I feel like that Microsoft pushing down helps us, holding below that 406.18. Interesting how this is not cooperating. Trying to hold 18,000. Keeps rejecting it. Let's see if we can get that push. S&P is pushing down pretty hard now, so hopefully we can get this S&P to be the leader, and then NASDAQ will follow to the downside. So let's see how far down we can get this to go. I would really, like I said, I would like to see it to the overnight lows and beyond. That's really the goal, the target there. We need to get through the bottom here at 87. So 87, once we get through there, we're going to go to break even, which looks good there. Short. I'm going to go just above 18,000. So if we get back above 18,000, we're going to be out. I don't want to be involved in that. If it doesn't want to play along here, I don't think anything good happens above 18,000, to be honest with you. But I do want to give it that room to breathe here a little bit, just a touch, break even or not, whatever happens there. Because this is just, it could be a grab, but I think we can hold below here. You started to get sellers to come in. You know, it's a free trade realistically, you know, minimal drawdown idea. Are we going to stay range bound, or are we going to flush the bottom? You think S&P is pushing down hard to lows, we would continue this NQ push to the downside, especially with Microsoft pushing, Apple pushing, Nvidia, the only thing that's holding us up. Do I want to let this thing even breathe even more? Probably, yeah. But I want this to flush again at 87. 87. Let's get through 87. Hot damn. I can't believe this is still trying to get to 18,000 again. It loves that level. You can see the Delta just trying to push harder to the downside. There wasn't a ton of buyers coming in at the with the Delta. I don't believe we should get above 18. Apple pushing towards its lows. I don't need a bounce on Apple. I don't need a bounce on Microsoft. I need them to hold below that 406.18 and get Apple down to that 80.40, which would be really nice. Now we're getting that push down. Here we go. Let's see if we can get that flush to continue us. All right, the flush is continuing. We should never return back to 18 now at this point. If it does, then it probably breaks it. So I'm leaving my stop just past break even. It's a free trade. However, I think now that we have got that good flush in, we should see the full rotation to that overnight low. If not, we're going to be mindful of the close of yesterday. See if we're going to get to that again. Obviously, like I said, this yellow line, important. VWAP is important. I don't want to recover this. I want to continue that push to the downside. I want to flush this level. Got right to 80 and bounced. Nice little bounce off of 80. I'm at even. So, wow, that was a huge pop up. Very whippy. I don't know if that's going to continue us on or not to the upside. We're out, we're flat. So that was very interesting. We're up $30, $29 on the nose, $29. We made $3 on that. That's the thing with the failed breakdown there. Do we look to flip long? Yeah, I think we go long. We go long here. We covered 18,000 with that kind of grab there. I'm gonna take a long above here. If it goes above this level here again, I'll take that long. I'll put my stop below, just based on the way that grabbed all that whippy action at the bottom to try and push back up to highs. Now I think we're gonna go take this long. It recovered 18,000 and then it just kind of ripped right through. You got Microsoft ripped right from 406.18. Apple bounced off of 180. Nvidia, I'm sure, is pushing up over 70, 78, which it did. We got involved there for the long. We're going to get stopped out below 18,000. But I think we can, if with this delta push, then potentially we could rip this up to the high side if it does not break down here. I flipped long on purely price action based on some of these other names getting super strong really, really fast. Something's bidding us up here in Microsoft, and I want to be a part of that. With the micros, I'm able to kind of give it a little bit more room, give it a little bit of able to, like, I could give it down to here really. on the micro. Can we hit off on the overnight highs is the question. If we break through that red line above, that's that opening range high. That's the important breakout point there. I'm going to go to break even on this. So it's a free trade on the long. I just want to see what happens here. See if this breakout is true or not, just based purely on that wick above, wick down. And then, like I said, Microsoft caught this crazy bid, and I wanted to be a part of it. So we're getting a part of it there. We're trying to catch ourselves back on up to the upside now. I want to see if we can get to that green line there, the overnight high. The overnight high is where I want to get to at least, which was the 40-ish level. I think we can get beyond that. We can get to 59.75 if we break that overnight high. So we're going to trail this sort of, not tight, but below that little VWAP thing there. We are long in both these accounts, so trying to get ourselves to manage this position correctly. With Microsoft, with that rally, we broke above that opening range high. Probably could just leave it at break even and never get touched again. However, just based on the way this price action has been going with the range boundness to it, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to manage this not on P&L. I'm going to manage it on price action. Manage it on price action. And if that level fails, then that's just is what it is, right? I think we can get up to that high with some help. Apple bounced as well. NVIDIA is also trying to push up. If NVIDIA can also kind of give another little leg up here, then we continue to rise. Got to break through 26. That was yesterday's overnight high level. That's what we faded a bunch yesterday. It's 26 to 28. That's like the zone. That's right about here, which is right what we just rejected. So we want to kind of push above that level there. If we could push above that level, then we probably have some confluence on the long. And you can see it here on the 30 minute. You can see that I have that level drawn up, and it's been pretty important over the past few days, sessions 1, 2, 3, 4, and we failed it a couple times. So if we do break above it, like I said, I think 54 is in the cards. I am able to switch my bias up. It is okay. We are doing well with these trades. We're making good executions, have good ideas on everything. The failed breakdown of 18,000 and a recovery of it with that much force, to me, tells me, hey, let's go long. Let's see how much we can get out of this long. You got NVIDIA trying, but not quite. But Apple and Microsoft both are pushing upside. So if Microsoft can keep going, get on its horse and start to push up some more, then this will get rallying. So 26, if we crack through 26 and 3/4, which is this high here, then I'm going to move my stop back up to there. Because that should initiate some more buying pressure up to the value area high. We've been rotational today, sort of range bound. So the anticipation of a breakout in either direction is not ideal. So we're trying to just secure some of these profits as they come. It's a free trade. We're green. We're trying to see if the breakout happens. If it doesn't happen, if it fails that level again, then you get stopped out, but you're still even or beyond break even at this point. If we're at these highs, giving these little wicks, potentially trying to break out, trying to get some size up there. Want to see if we got this conviction on this.
Order filled.
I got flat on my top step X, but I think we can still continue this high side. We're trying to trade the price action here. You got Delta creeping in heavier. So the heavier Delta's pushing in. That's why we got stopped out there. Up $45. Up 45. So we've taken a couple winners. So we took one good winner, two good winners, and one loss there. Well, no, it's 2 losses. We went break even there, so yeah. Where am I at? Where am I at? I'm not going crazy with these this account here, right? Like I said, I'm trying to build out a drawdown. So being green on the day is good. We got more coffee. Water would be cool. Oh yeah. We are in like this interesting decision area, right? I feel like at any moment we can get this crazy hard sell off, but we haven't quite got there yet. A lot of this failed breakdown here just kind of just reminiscent of yesterday. Maybe we do exactly the same thing we did yesterday, where try to break down, fail, and then finally break down very, very end of the day. Maybe we'll come back on later around that 2:30, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock ish time and see what we can get involved in. Right now we're 30 seconds away from not being able to enter a trade. I don't have anything that I want to take right this second, so we are going to hang tight, let that 10 o'clock hour come in, and then see what we can get. Even if we do break 18,000 right now and then just get that good flush, then, you know, unfortunately we kind of miss it unless it happens within 20 seconds. Nope, I'm going to let it do its thing for 5 more minutes. And then we're going to execute after 10 o'clock. That's all we can do here is just put ourselves in good positions and just be patient. We're green on the day. We have nothing but patience to have, right? Yeah, we were up about 110 to start the day on this trade. Thank you. Up about 110 to start the day, gave back 1 loss. Right there. Broke even on this one. Took 1 small win on this. So overall, like I said, pretty good. Up 45. We'll call it 45 ticks because that's pretty much what we're up. 45 ticks at the moment. Just getting a lot of that same inside day kind of price action like we had yesterday. I'm going to leave up Microsoft. So you see that. The reason I took the long is because this huge break, this wick, and then that confirmed break above 18,000. You have to kind of take that. I was able to secure $200 on that on the Top Step X, funded 50K. But on the smaller micros, it's only $20, right? Because it's 10 times deleveraged, 1/10 of the size of a full contract. One of these moves will break and fail. We're looking at the S&Ps pretty much holding that 50-75 level once, 2, 3 times. If the S&Ps can get back up into its opening range, then there's a chance that this NASDAQ pushes back high side. But right now, Apple got a little bit of a bid. Microsoft tilting back down. You know, we're in that indecision phase. None of these names are really doing anything of worth that are going to be moving us. And for the next 5 minutes, we're going to be patient. We're going to look at Amazon. Look at Amazon. You trade Amazon today, you are just either you're the best range bound trader and you're just trading within 50-cent increments, or you're in long or you're in short and you're just up, down, or even and up, or whatever you are, and that's just something that you don't want to trade right there. Once it breaks out of that range, though, you're gonna want to do that. Oh, that's cool. Spacebar goes through watch lists. I gotta set up my watch list. The VIX is beaten down. AMD ripping upside. Nvidia curling back up. Apple curling back up. We got 2 minutes before we could actually enter a trade. Will a breakout happen? We'll see. Apple. AMD wicks the high. Nvidia pushing up. Microsoft pushing back downside. Microsoft and Apple, both very indecisive at their lows. 3 30-minute candles in a row where the S&Ps look like this. Push down to 75, bounce. Push down to 75, bounce. Push down to 75, bounce. And all of them close pretty much, or the base or the close is right at that 50, 80-ish level. 50, 81, 50, 80-ish. And now, let's see. Does this candle open up and push, or does this open and pop down? We can make a trade now, so we're going to look to see what we can gather from the information we have. You can see NASDAQ, opposite really, wicked up to 26 and failed. And then now if you break down from 18,000 again, potentially that gives you that next little push to the downside. So we're going to watch and be mindful of this. I will take another shot at it. Can't hate trying to short a key level because eventually it does break. Can you tell if that I just want to break down? No, I'm okay for now. Thank you. Oh. Here's what I see. Also, you have the same kind of deal as yesterday where you have attempts to be pushed up and delta not playing, right? You try to pop, fail, try to pop, fail, try to pop, fail. Here, we're going to see if we can break the low of this piece here with a nice strong delta move. That gives you the confidence to say, okay, we're going to probably give this another little run at the bottom here. Do I want to take it now? We're in the middle. We're at the point of control. Yes, we're below the high of the day, the opening range high. I just don't want to front run 18,000 on my own. I want to see a flush of it, break it down, and I just want to kind of be left behind. I want this to just go. I don't want it to. I want it to work pretty much right away. That's my game. So it's where I'm at. I will short it there. If these names will kind of start to play along some. Seems like NVIDIA was the only thing that was really holding us up anyway. That Microsoft pop and S&Ps is now pushing down, leading us to the downside. 10 o'clock is done. Profit taking should be coming in from the Europeans. The Europeans had a professor in college that's he called the Europeans, the Europeans. He was from Africa. And I enjoyed the way he spoke. You see a little bit of a wedge coming here. If you get a little pop, fail, rotate down through 18. Potentially, I gotta turn this fan off. Give me a second. Oh, stretch. Sometimes you just need to get up, walk around a bit. I feel like we're seeing the market well. Yeah, we're up $45 on this little micros that we're trading. However, we could really maximize the gain here if this does decide to finally push through that opening range low and then start to rotate down, holding below that 18,000 level. I do like that 927 3/4. It's 278 ticks away from the entry. Do we get any sort of real move on it? Maybe. We'll see. We're not getting a push down in Delta as much as I would like. Well, I guess there it goes a little bit. There's a lot of orders right here, right? You see all those green, those bids front running 18,000. If these get taken out, then I would expect this to kind of continue pushing down. I keep saying it. I mean, at some point, this market breaks. Is it this time? Is it next time? All I know is I keep putting myself in a position where I can kind of give myself the opportunity to capitalize on it if it does go, right? If it goes and melts off, then I'm going to be involved. If it stops me out, I've limited my risk. I've accepted my risk. And that's what happens, you know? We're just waiting to see if any of these names are going to give you that really good melt off. Microsoft right at 406.18. We're short on these names, so I'm going to see what happens. I think that we can now maybe look to see if we flush it. If it's just going to be another bounce, then you're out, right? But really, you have to give yourself the opportunity, because if these names start to melt off, you want to be involved in the short, because I do believe that these shorts, we're at these highs, right? At some point, the short's going to come in. There's going to be some sort of correction, and you want to be a part of the correction if it happens, fast, right? So that's what I'm putting myself in these opportunities. I would love to add to these moves and try and, really capitalize on them. But the way we've been having these failed, real no continuation on the pushes, I just don't trust it quite yet to add to the bottom. Microsoft wicked 406.18 and bounced. The 800 level is holding again. 18,000 level, not 800. 18,000 level is holding once again. There it goes again. We're playing right with that level. We rip up, then we rip up. Microsoft giving you a little bit of a bounce from that spot, but I think we get this thing to go. Hopefully you guys can make some money on this. If you're fading me, then cool. If you're with me, then hopefully we can get this thing to roll over. I think we do have some room to the downside here. I don't have a promise, but I do have as best of an execution as I possibly can give you. Apple bouncing a little bit, Microsoft bouncing a little bit, Nvidia trying to push down through that low, get through that pre-market low. It's like indecisive right now, right? You can see everything sort of just paused. Even the NQ is just like, I'm at 18,000. I don't know what I want to do, and now here I go. I'm pushing downside again. Can I get through my VWAP? Let's see. Can I get through the bottom? Really looking to see if we can get this to finally be the breakdown. One of these is going to happen. If it's just going to be like yesterday, then it's going to probably fail the breakdown again and bounce. If we can get through this value area low, or too near that value area low, then that's where we want to be. You got Delta trying to push down. It did make a new low. You know, we did flush that. That was a good push. So hopefully we can get some more confluence here to get this to roll even further down. Digging ourselves out of this hole, one good trade at a time. I mean, like I said, I think we're putting ourselves in good positions to see if we can actually eventually get this thing to go. Like, I don't mind stopping myself out when I'm wrong. I'm totally okay with that. That's how this trading thing works. You stop yourself out when you're wrong. I just would like to see this thing finally give you that breakdown that it so desperately seems like it wants to do. Unfortunately, you got these names at key levels where they just want to hold up, like Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia. AMD pushed down after it made those highs, so maybe it'll drive Nvidia down. Apple pushed down for me. Come on now. There we go. Come on, Microsoft, break that 18 level. Give me that flush now. Let's see what happens. There we go. Getting a good push down. We got to get through that 90. You see that big buyer there at 90. If we can get through him. Let's get through 90. There we go. Boom. That's a good flush there. I'm going to be above this wick. That's where I'm going to be. I'm going to be at break even on my top step X 50K. And we're going to see how far down we can take this now. You can see Microsoft broke down. Apple tried to a little bit. It hasn't. I'm above that wick there. I want to see this thing continue to push harder to the downside. Once you got this selling to kind of pour in, then you should probably look to see it continue down. I don't know if this will stay range bound if with this kind of delta pushing down. Short's only 61% short. So really we're confident in that it's not super heavy short. I'm trying to let this be a well-managed trade. I want to see if we can get that flush. It seems like Microsoft has a buyer down there at 406, but it's just not quite pushing above 18. Apple is just dojiing. It's just sitting there. Nvidia also trying to catch a little bit of a bounce. So let's see. Maybe we'll go to break even based on these equity names. Yeah, we're going to break even. I don't want to be in anymore if it's going to rally up on a big pop on any of these names. But Apple is starting to roll. Nvidia looks good. Microsoft looks like 406.18 could hold. Wicked above it for a second. Come on now. Breakdown. Nothing wants to break down. See that, like the lack of follow through on these moves. That's why I'm not adding to these moves. You're just not getting that follow through that we would normally get on anything. We're flat on the top step bags. We're flat here. We're up $46.50. We made $1.50 on that. Just not getting that good follow through. I originally had to stop above this wick, but just based purely on the kind of the range bound type day we're in, the failure of it. No continuation. Apple, Microsoft, still trying to bounce some. Nvidia, AMD. One of these times we're going to be in it, and it's going to go, which is not there yet. 18,000 is holding as resistance. Nvidia is starting to look to peak to the downside. Microsoft. Are you going to catch a bounce here at 406.18, or are we going to break down? Up 406.50 on this account. I don't see the same type of move we saw here where we got long. You can see that here though, right? If 18,000 holds again, you catch any sort of bid on any of these, then upside again we go. It's very congruent here. Delta, pop, fail, making new lows, not making new lows, or not quite making new lows, getting close to it. Same deal here. So everything is pretty much acting the same over and over and over again. Very similar to yesterday, like I said. Just an inside choppy kind of rangy day. That's why I'm quick to move to break even on those, because I feel like the other end is coming in on those. And then if we don't get that good follow through, like this move here with that kind of wick and that push down, it should have never gotten us back to break even or up to that high there. So if it does, then it rotates back the other way. That's kind of what we're looking at on these moves. I just don't see that that breakdown coming in right now. If it's going to come in, it's going to come in hard, and you're not going to really look back at it. I think that's the one that we actually want to be involved in, is that the one that you just see it go and then it never comes back. Sort of like the first one we took here. That's really what you want to see on a really true breakdown, right? Microsoft holding below 406.18. Apple still wedging out, looking to maybe break to the higher side. And Nvidia has been holding us up here above that 785.78. Microsoft holding 406.18. If we crack down here, then you get that, maybe that breakdown now. You're holding 18,000 better than prior. Looking for that one good move here. Still just being very patient on this. Yeah, we've entered a few attempts at a breakdown of 18,000. No dice, but maybe a break up here puts us to the highs. But the 77 level on the S&Ps is trying to crack right now to the downside. The bottom end here is 77 quarter, 77 even. If that breaks down, then NQ may go. But that 75 is where we got that bounce before, right? So this is a different one because this candle opened lower and has pushed even lower. So there you go, pushing down again. I'll flatten that, I don't want that in there. This is actually a good move, right? Stronger delta, stronger push, holding that 18,000. Now, if this fails to hold down here and the rotates back above, do you think that we're getting new buyers coming in above 18, or do you think we're stopping people out, or do you think we never touch 18 again? This is a big range here. Big range. Let's see. You said targets were 20 to 22. You're getting a little bit of a pullback here, but nothing saying let's get me out. You're in at 1750. You know, maybe stops below 1840. You still got lots of room to the upside if your targets are higher. If it's a longer term trade, hold. Looking good. And now NCLH, really, really nice trade there. Okay, but back to Microsoft. I guess you're trading all equities at the moment, SPY? Good stuff. I dig it. Apple looking to maybe get to that 180. What's that? 180, 70-ish level. And Microsoft, if it holds here, breaks back above 406.18 and gives you some sort of push upside. 18,000 fails to hold below again. I think you rotate once again back to where we were. I'm not, like I said, I'm showing these trend lines. Not that I really want to be involved over a trend line, but I do want to be involved on a failed breakdown again, right? You got the failed breakdown here, rotate high, failed breakdown here, possibly rotate back to the high again. You got lower high, maybe 18,010 is that target for that potentially. If 18,010 comes in and then you fail 18,000 again, that means it's just a third lower high. Then maybe you get that full continuation back to the downside. If you get the full push, you know, if one of these names does catch fire, what's the alert here? Sony cuts 900 PlayStation jobs. Sony lay off 900 PlayStation employees. Sony is not important. Apple, NVDA, AMD. AMD starting to catch a little bit of a bid. Might be the need for NVIDIA to kind of continue up. Still hasn't really broken out of its little wedge. Still this downside pressure from the high here. Super rangy. Not that I don't want to get chopped up in anything. We're still only up, you know, we're up 46.50. We're looking for one more good trade here. We're being very cautious, very patient in this kind of market environment. You see this continuing diminishing delta, right? We pushed up, delta's continuing to push down. There's not really follow through to the upside, so possibly this downside pressure will come in a little bit heavier. A breakdown of the value area low at 980 maybe could give us that follow through down to the overnight low. I'm sorry, choking. Gonna watch the 17,968 level that's in this range here. S&P's tried to push down below 77. It's trying to reclaim it again. It's kind of flirting with that 77 level. If you catch a bid on it, then it possibly could go and lead us to the upside. It's trying to drag us down. We are very, very choppy. Not much movement. We caught that very first move of the day there. And then we got one stop, one break even, a winner, and another break even. Pretty much, it's a small winner there. So up 46. %, short on the tilt. 77 is being held, being respected on the S&Ps. We do have NVIDIA still giving you that little wedge. Apple, same deal. And Microsoft breaking the lows. If any of these other names want to start selling, then if NVIDIA could stop holding these highs, then maybe this market will break. Do I want to be a part of that? You might be thinking, why short the low? I think if we do get involved in it, that we could get down to the lows of the day because we've broken through this little value area. But if it pops and holds, then we got to see. I'm going to wait to see what this candle does. Because you can see Apple's still kind of just propped up. Microsoft didn't break the low yet. And NVIDIA was holding the high, right? NVIDIA was holding up up there. You get NVIDIA to break down, then that'll give you that final follow through. Overall, good. I mean, once again, another good trading day. We didn't force anything. We've taken our executions based on planned reasoning. We talked through everything. We talked through all of our ideas. Yeah, we might not have a ton of profits. And like I said, I'm training small. I'm trying to develop myself back into a winning streak, build out this account, get 2 more funded. Or I have 1 more funded that I got done yesterday that we're messing with now. Get another one funded tomorrow, and then have another. We'll have $200,000 of funding to work with and see what we can get from them. Overall, we're having a good day. Could be a great day if one of these things decides to do something. That's why we didn't take that. We wanted to see if it'll hold. So that low there held. If it breaks, like I said, up to 18,010. If it gets up and through and then fails 18,010, that's that like triple top type move that I like to see on a push up, a higher, lower high, and then a significantly lower high below previous structures there to rotate back down. That could give you that good follow through to the downside. If we get there, if this just continues to sell, then it's just we'll never get back to it, which is fine. That's the thought process on the day. I just thought it would be more of a good flush at some point and not just a drift to the downside. 50-50 on the tilt. Really some indecision going on right now. Nobody really knows where it wants to go. I did mention that the S&Ps, you can see these 30-minute candles, 75, 75, 75, 75 again. If you break above here and start to run, that 75 was a pretty good liquidity grab for these names. So we're going to watch this. Maybe we'll take the break above 18 and just risk to VWAP there. You can see Delta playing to that side there. But if it holds 18,000, right? Like if we continue to hold it, then the short is in. Softy breaking down. Apple holding above 80, but it's still looking like 80. Still looks like it wants to get heavy. NVIDIA still giving you that little pennant. It is on a downtrend, so I do think it possibly holds. But if it doesn't, if it does crack above 788 and beyond, could get a little bit of a pop and rally in this. Let's see for SPY Proby, NCHL, NHCL. What is this name? Fat fingers. NCLH. That's why. You see Apple just stagnated. Gave you that big pop off of 80.40, broke the highs, and now it's just drifted down to 80, and has used 80 as support a bunch of times. We see if Microsoft can't break these lows and continue to flush down, then you may look to see it get a little bit of a pop. There's a gap here, so maybe that's what's trying to fill this little bit of a gap at 405 even. A recovery at 406.18 pushes us up. Apple's giving you a little bit of a push. NVIDIA also, it's like threatening to break out. And here's the name that's holding us downside. a lot of people I feel like are thinking like me with the 18,000 level holding and pushing us downside, which makes me believe that we have another squeeze up. You know, if I think that there's going to be a majority thought process of, oh, 18,000 is holding, let's continue short here. You know, I think that that's more likely to happen. That's just like my thought. But then at the same time, you think, what's the harder trade? The harder trade is possibly a failure and breakdown. There's Microsoft going, but Apple's still pushing up. So we see if this holds. 405 even closes that gap. $10:30 a.m. This time it's 44 seconds still, so it could pop off of 77 and close up higher. But really, the S&P's 30-minute candle is now actually showing some heaviness. Break down below here, like I thought, maybe gets us that flush. There we go. Below this value area, really accelerating the flush to the downside. Apple starting to go. Nvidia is still holding that 75, 74 level. Unfortunately, we stopped ourselves out here. We never got above that wick. I just didn't like the price action there. It is what it is. I'm going to flatten this. I don't want any orders out there. Flatten all. No orders. I don't want any orders out there right now. 30-minute candle closed below the low. There, pushing up now above 77. Nvidia holding up. Apple, Microsoft, did it hold? Nope. It never closed the gap either. That's a good liquidity zone. A failure to hold below the value area low can give you that rotation higher, but these are failed breakouts too, so watch those. Nvidia bounced a little bit off there. Microsoft, I think, wants to close the gap at 405. If it closes that gap, expect a bit of a bounce. 405 even is that high end. I'm going to use the restroom. I think we may catch a little bit of a bid here. If not, then the flush is in. Give me a couple minutes and I'll be right back. Here's the bounce. Let's see. Is it a true bounce or is it a fail? Let's break out once again. You're limiting your downside risk with this zone here. The fail to continue to the downside every single time leads me to believe that you do get some sort of push up. However, that hold below this daily VWAP is going to be an important thing to watch as well. So overall, looking good. For one more possible move, I gotta just see what I want to take here. If I want to take the breakdown and get that follow through. Microsoft, Nvidia popping, Apple just wedging, looking like it wants to pop. Nvidia looking like it wants to push. I'm gonna take a 2 guy here. Yeah. I'm gonna take this long here. I'm gonna risk to the bottom of this flush. And we'll see where it goes.
Order filled.
Hi, buddy. Where are you going?
I'm going to a class.
What class are you going to? Where are you going?
What class?
You don't know what class?
A normal class.
A normal class? Oh. What's a normal class? Shooting this shot based off of Apple bouncing off its level. You gotta move my car. Sorry. Microsoft bouncing a bit. Let's see if Microsoft could get back over 406.18 to help this cause to the long side. I'm shooting my shot at it. I think that we could get a little bit of a bounce here based on the lack of follow through. The delta was pretty nice here on the turnaround. We're risking to the low here below 70. So, we're risking to the low below 70. See if we can get this thing to pop, or if it's just going to continue to flush on us. It is what it is. Nvidia is trying to. It's basing out above this level. Apple still in that wedge pattern, very, very slow, very, very light. Microsoft was trying to recover, could help us out. If not, if we flush below our low there, then the potential to continue to push downside is there. Might cut it if it gets below there. But if not, if it holds, this is going to be that little higher high and then that pop, because Microsoft is pushing us up. S&P's trying to hold 77. Needs to get above 77. Patience, patience, patience. Let it go. See what happens. One of these names will go. Just the way it's holding here, to me, it says 80 wants to hold. Microsoft caught that bid there. I think maybe we can get it to push a little bit. If Nvidia can give you that pop off of 75, 78, then we can get going. Kind of just slow it down a lot right here. We just broke that bottom there. Again, probably get that good push down now. There it is. Flat on that. Flatten these. See if we get break through that low, or if this is going to be a good bounce. Funny, I had that short idea up here, and then now I've kind of chased it around, but we're basically even on the day, but we're looking to see if this will bounce from here. Looks like it wants to give you a little bit of a pop. Nvidia holding, Microsoft gave it a little wick off there. Maybe it'll push back up into that 406.18. Apple pushing right down to 180.80. Does it bounce or does it crack the low? We're not risking a ton on this trade. We're managing our risk. We're trying to take good opportunities to limit our downside on the way the market's been pretty rangy. We wicked the bottom in the S&Ps. My phone's ringing. Give me a second. There's the push to the downside a little bit again. Apple trying to pop down lower. Now we're going to get the flush because I didn't want to play along. Nvidia's breaking down. Microsoft. I'm going to hold it. and see what happens. Delta not quite making that new low area. So if we can catch any sort of bid here, we may rotate higher from this level, but there's a chance that it does not. Microsoft still pushing down. Apple, give me a bounce off this level. I think our stop's in a good spot there, so if we can get involved in this, if this pops here, then we have a good location on it. If not, then we're out, obviously. But we're accepting that loss, and we're looking to see if we can get some running to happen, some bids to just kind of pour in, just based on a lack of follow through to the downside, man. Lack of push to the downside at the low. We're still in. We're still holding it. Holding in strong. Holding it. It's got to get above 80 and hold above 80. If you could rip through 80, we could see this thing start to catch a bid, possibly. Nvidia trying to hold, but it's pushing downside. Microsoft pushing down a little bit here on that tick down. Apple, hold it. It held. Apple's our guy right now. Nvidia, you can see it holding that level. Microsoft trying to push down one more time, but let's see if we can catch a little bit of a pop here. We got a higher low. Maybe we can push up and get into the VWAP. Waiting, being patient, seeing what happens. Nope. Looks like it wants to push down 77. I'm going to add a contract onto the 50K. If we break above 80, watching, waiting to see if it'll break above 80. If it breaks above 80 again, then we could get a little bit of a pop, and that's what I'm looking to see. Maybe get above, and then obviously this position is going to be what it is. We'll see what happens with it, but I want this to be here, 225, 66, yeah, 66.75. So let's see if we can get this thing to go high side. Apple wants to get heavy though. There, it pushes down. That's the break. That's going to go lower. We're going to be stopped out on this probably now with the push to the downside. Everything's getting heavy. Yeah, we're going to not be trading that account right now. We're going to leave that alone. And we're going to see, now we're down about $30. If this holds, yep, flatten that. So we're going to get rid of some of these because I don't like to play these lines. That's why I don't play those. Alrighty, down about $35. $35. This is why we're trading these small. We're trying to, like I said, we're trying to build out of this drawdown on this account. There's no reason to take huge losses. There's no reason to force anything in. We're looking to see if we can catch a bounce play from here. That's the only thing I'm looking at right now. Trying to fade these. Just based on this being a slow grind, anything above 80 gives me that idea of this fade being correct. Oh, I didn't do that on purpose. I don't know what I just did. Flatten that. I don't want to be involved. If there's a position on, orders, no, good. I meant to get this to go. A failed breakdown below that level wants me to get involved on a break back above the high. That's really what the idea is there. Let's see what these names are doing. Apple catching a little bit of bounce. Microsoft also not quite holding through those lows. If we can get above here, then potentially back to 406.18. I will take one more shot at it because I do think 18,000 could get touched again based on the price action of the day. What's the risk on that? 33 ticks. Nvidia giving you a pop. Oh, I don't have to stop on. Okay, we're good there. Anything above 80 should continue us up. That's my thought on this.
Order filled.
Yeah, I'm along there. See what happens. Nvidia pushing upside. Microsoft giving you a little bounce. Apple just sitting there on the top end of that level. Let's see what happens at VWAP. If we can't get VWAP to, if VWAP doesn't act as anything, then watch 18,000. If we get to VWAP, we're going to go to break even. That's really what we're going to do with that trade management, and then we're going to see where it goes from there. That's really what we want to try and just get this thing to be maximized to the upside, because Nvidia is starting to pop off. Apple is sitting on this level, hasn't really broke out or broke down. Microsoft also just kind of just chilling at that bottom, not flushing further, so potentially looking to break out, or not break out, but rebound a little bit, because breaking out would be the other end. So I want to see this thing get back to VWAP, fade this bottom, get back to VWAP, and then rotate higher. But if not, we're going to be stopped again, and we'll be done. That'll be our final trade for the day. There we go. Starting to catch a bid, starting to push up. Nvidia pushing. What is Apple doing? Because Microsoft's just sitting there. Apple's getting a little bit of an upside move there. You catching a slight bid on this. I think we can get up to VWAP. I think that's possible here. If 80 holds, VWAP is in targets. If VWAP gets into play, we're going to go to break even. Still haven't got that push. Give me that one more push up here. We're leaving that stop down there until we get up to that VWAP. Nvidia pushed right up to the top end of that wedge. And we're failing 80 again. Apple pushing down. Microsoft pushing up. These are the thoughts that I go through every trade. I'm looking to just see where it's going to take me. If we can just get this thing to push off, it's one good trade, right? One good trade on the day. If this does get to VWAP, I think 18,000 is kind of just like a magnet. It would like to get to that 18,000. And then if we can break above 18, after pushing to lows and not really getting completely down there, there's a chance that if any of these Mag 7 names start to play along, like NVIDIA does, it is pushing highs again, trying to tick up. Microsoft is sitting here at 405.71, but if it could get above that 406.18 with any sort of bid, then you see this probably just continue upside for the time being. There hasn't been like a ton of like big flushes down, so a lot of times when I see this grind down, you see a pop, like a short squeeze type pop. NVIDIA failed its little wedge pattern to try and break out, so may fail everything. We're just being kind of patient on this level. Like I said, we're not moving the stop until we get up to VWAP. When we get to VWAP, we'll go to break even, and then we'll see how far. There's a push up now. We're starting to get a good bid on it. Let's see if it'll start to play along with us. There we go. Pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. Looks like VWAP's in our sights. So we're going to go right to break even. We shouldn't come back to 80. Okay, so now let's just see how far we can take it. If we can get to 18,000, then VWAP will probably be our stop. So we'll use VWAP as our stop for at 18,000. If we get through 18,000, this should continue to rally into the close, to be honest with you. So let's see what happens. I am, it's a free trade, risk-free. I'm going to go right to the base of this candle. If the base of this candle does get taken out, then that's probably going to get taken out anyway and rotate to lows. But with Microsoft catching a bid, NVIDIA trying to catch a bid, Apple, we were very patient. We let this thing start to play out. Yeah, we got stopped out once on it. However, I think just the thought process behind everything was really laid out well. NVIDIA, Apple, AAPL. Oh my God, my fingers. AAPL. There we go, pushing off the bottom. That's what I was saying. Got to be cautious about that. Those names being on the bottom, being at their lows, because they do want to catch bids from this zone. That and Microsoft, if Microsoft can get above 406.18, then this getting above 18,000 probably just continues on. So we're almost basically at 18,000. We're just shy of it. 997, 998, 997. Is there going to be a buyer, or is this going to be a big sell from here? I'm not moving my stop. I'm going to let this thing go, see what happens at 18,000. And then if we can hold above it, then break even is going to be VWAP, like I said. If not, if it rolls completely over and we get stopped at break even, it's still a free trade. We still did what we wanted to do with it. We just want to maximize our gain on it, right? We don't want to just give up at VWAP right now just because we're there. We want to try and get this thing to be that bigger move. The idea of this thing failing to break down, and then you get a pop and a rally. And this is the kind of move that I like to see that'll continue, right? You get these bars that are saying you're correct. This is me being correct. Let's see if we can continue to be correct, or if we're going to fall down and fail. I would even like to add to this position, to be honest, above 18,000. Today I'm not going to do that. I might want to on the top step X. But I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it alone. We're at 18,000 right here, right now. Do we print above it? 96, 96, 97, 97s. There's 63 there at 18,000. There's a good amount of orders just above. Could be stops to run. That's like I said, I want to see it get over 18,000. I need 18,000 to now become support. I don't want it to be resistance, because if it acts as resistance here, then it's going to be a nice little sell-off. But with Microsoft acting nice, Nvidia still pushing up nicely, and I need Apple to continue its bounce off of here. If it breaks out of this little wedge pattern and pushes upside, that'll continue us all the way to the high of the day. We still have yet to clear out either the overnight high or the overnight low. We've been heavier than strong, but if the failed attempt to reach the overnight low happens, the possibility of cleaning up that overnight high is likely for me in my theories. Kind of basing out here. If you get a break base above 18, then you should get a continuation. You break the base above 18, 18 should act as support, and that's why I'll go to VWAP, because anything below VWAP will probably start to flush, right? But I need to get above 18 first. Nvidia still holding. Apple's still just not playing the game. It's holding up. It's just not breaking. And then Microsoft tried to sell a little bit there, but I don't think that that's a true sell. I think we're going to push to 18. 4618 would be the nice spot. There's your Nvidia. Still above that high there. Apple. We're holding this. We're holding this. We think we can get above 18. If we get above 18, I want to get all the way to that overnight high. That's really my goal there with this, at least to the overnight high. I could go further. I can go to 50, right? That's yesterday's high. I could get to yesterday's high on today. Wouldn't be mad at it. 5 minutes to 11. We're in a position, so we're going to stay in as long as this position is active. We'll stay live on the Tradecaster, on the YouTube. I appreciate everybody coming by for the day. It's been a nice little day. We've been executing properly. Yes, we're down a little bit. We're basically break even at the moment. Up about $30 on this trade at the moment. Anything where we can maximize the gain on this trade will be a beautiful thing. They're risk free, so I have no qualms with what's going on, and we're just gonna let it kind of play out, see if this yellow zone below acts as the low, and then anything up above 18,000 should kind of get you there. So we just cracked 18. Are we going to reject it, or are we going to accept? That's what we need to understand at this level here. Will it accept and hold 18, or is it going to fail it kind of quick? That's what we want to know. With Microsoft pushing a little bit, Nvidia still pushing upside. AMD was leading today. It's pushing to the highs. There's your Nvidia pushing to highs. Is Apple bouncing? It's bouncing, and it needs to crack this. If Apple can crack here and give us a little bit of a more confluence to this long, Apple really carried us long the other day. It's been beaten down, beaten down, beaten down. So if it can give you any sort of bid, I think that this continues to rally some. We got to 18,000 from there. That's good 92 ticks. I said if we hold 18,000, we will move our stop to VWAP, which I think if we fail 18,000, VWAP fails. So that's really what I'm thinking here. I got to close above 18, right? 18,001. So now our stop is below this VWAP area. And then now we're looking to see if we can get to that overnight high and beyond, right? 18,010, I did mention, was a good line in the sand for us. I wanted to add above 18 on the, but I'm not adding today. Today's just going to be let this thing run and see where it ends up. We have secured basically break even on the day. We're up $10 with our trail here total. We're sitting currently about positive $50 on the day. We're just managing our position to maximize return on it. Any sort of hold above 18,000, we want to see a rally to overnight highs and yesterday's highs. If we can't get it to hold 18,000, another failure of 18,000 could rotate us to the lows, right? And so that's what we're watching. My thought process is we did have a hold there at 18,001 above 18,000. So if we return below VWAP and below these candles, then we're going to be wrong, and we're probably going to roll the break even. So we're going to secure at least this much of our trade and then just trail it out if it continues on to the upside. Apple kind of not wanting to go. Microsoft also a little bit of a roll, but Nvidia being the leader of the day, holding us upside. AMD still holding that upside. So maybe If Nvidia can hold, maybe we can get Microsoft to also bounce from here. Because with these at the lows, once again, just like yesterday, the NQ is acting stronger than the Magnificent Seven, right? All these names are sort of beaten down. Microsoft still pushing. Apple is trying to hold this level. If any of these names will give you a pop, well, either of these, Apple or Microsoft, Nvidia is still carrying you higher. If those names will pop, that'll accelerate your move to the upside, right? You're going to continue to push higher. But if these names continue to get beaten down, and you're constantly failing these highs, then you will get a solid rollover at some point. So that's what I'm thinking. But realistically, as long as we can hold 18,000, we're going to be patient with it and look to see if we do get any sort of rally up. 18,010, I'm putting my stop down to 18. And I'm going to trail at 10 points. And then we're going to just kind of watch as we approach that 27, and then also the levels above. So give me 2 minutes. It's 11 o'clock. I'm normally off at 11. We'll see what happens at the close of this candle, if we can close above 18 or not. Seems like we're kind of trying to fail it, but it's trying its best right here, right? And we're just sitting right at that 18,000 level. So 11 o'clock should give us a little bit of a whippy action there. There you go. You can see the whip. I was going to get off and go to the restroom, but I do want to see what happens here at 11. Can we get a big pop? I want to see a big pop off. I want to see it to 18,010 to move it to 18,000 to really secure what's going on here. But Apple and Microsoft sitting there. So if it rolls down below VWAP, we're stopped out anyway. So just give me a second. Right, trying to fail 18,000 again. Microsoft still trying to hold that low there, 405.60. I know it wants to get to 405 even to close that gap, but 18,000 might act on its own here. Come on now. Catch a bid. Catch a bid above 18 and never look back. That's really what I want to see here. Get up to 18,010. Then you just get buyers start to pour in above there. You got bids up there. There you go. You're starting to get a little bit of a stronger delta push. There's a continuation looking push. I want to get above. Well, 18,010 was the point of control before. The point of control actually flipped to 18,000 even. That's where it's been. So I really want to get above 10. You can see that was the previous point of control was right there. So that's where I want to trail my stop below 18,000 when that happens. Microsoft's starting to bid up a little bit. We're getting congruent delta. Nothing really yet telling me let's get out of this. So still holding below VWAP. Wicking back below 18. Microsoft did catch up a little bit. Apple bouncing. I think we're still good. I think we're still good here. VWAP has to hold. Let's keep 18,000. We need to break above. I wanted to, like I said, 18,010. A break of 18,006 will probably get us to 10, but if we get to 10, then we shouldn't come back to 18. That's really the thought process there. And if we do come back to 18, then we'll be out and we'll be flat for a positive day. We're already in a positive day, right? This stop right here keeps me green. We're just trying to maximize our return on this account. Thinking it's coming. Microsoft. Catch a bid, buddy. If Microsoft can give me one of those big green candles again, I'd be happy. There, it's pushing. It's trying to push, 1103. I need the S&P to push up. If the S&Ps can try and lead us upside a bit. It held 77 again, so still looking to get above 18,000 for good. There's Microsoft pushing. I need to get up to 406.18 and above. I'm going to watch it. Apple, once again, trying to break through that little bit of a wedge pattern that it's creating. If it can break above, then we should be good. 406.18 incoming. Grabbed a lot of liquidity above 18 though. It's basing out. I think it wants to base and break for that continuation. I need to get above 10, get to this longer term VWAP thing that appears to play a role in some of these trades. I'm not really using that. I'm just there. I keep telling you that just because. All right, a push above, like I said, a push above 18,010 or into 18,010. I get my stop to break even. I mean to 18, just below 18,000, 17,999. But we got to get up there to 10. I feel like if we get up there, then we shouldn't come back. But it looks like it wants to fail it. Apple broke above that little wedge. There it goes. Apple looking to push. If Apple gives us that push, then that's the only thing that's been holding us down. And Microsoft being below 406.18. But if you can get this thing to pop, if Apple can give me one pop, one more little bid back up there, then we should hold 18. I mean, this is a great trade no matter what. We've trailed it as best we can. We're giving it the room it needs to breathe, to make a decision on if it wants to go upside anymore. And if it comes down and stops us out, then we're happy with the way we managed it, right? But 18,000 obviously has been that key line in the sand, point of control, psychological level. And if it can hold it and continue upside like it just did, there's Microsoft, Apple pushing upside. We're getting right close to 10. If I say I'm going to go just below 18, if we can get to 10, right? Or just close to 10, because if we break 10, you'd think that we continue on upside. Apple gave you a little bit of a pop there. Microsoft also not bidding down, so it's bidding up a little bit. Trying to maximize our gain on this trade here. I need to get to 10 before I go below 18,000. That's just my thought process here to try and get this thing to go, but it seems like it wants to not quite make it, even though we're getting some strength here in Apple. I don't know if NVIDIA is failing or something, or it's just not playing along with this. Of course, NVIDIA is not. It's playing out nicely, so we should be fine still. Will it wick 18,000 one more time? $18,010 incoming, and 18,009, 18,950, 18,009, 18,010. There we go. 18,010 gets tagged, so now we're moving this thing to just below 18,000, or just at 18,000. So we're managing the shit out of this position. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think we're doing a really good job here of maximizing our gain. And if it fails 18,000, then so be it, right? We're trailed out 10 points. You can't be mad at that, right? If that's the break out and it doesn't come, it shouldn't come back to your 18,000. It should hold this this low if it's going to keep moving to the upside, right? If it's going to fail it, then it's going to fail it, and we're going to be out. But right now, Apple, Microsoft, both kind of pushing to the high side. NVIDIA, I'm sure, still pushing up. It still has up to 793 and 3/4 before it really runs into any resistance. So like I said, 18,010 was that I need to get to it to allow myself some room to move my stop to 18,000, which it is now. So we're 10 points off. The NQ likes to fluctuate 10 points, 10 points. You know, we're at this 30-minute wedge. If you break above it, I say the high end here, we're going to hit off on this. If we can continue to push, this is a very consolidated area, but if you do break above that 10 and hold, you can see that kind of movement that we had before, right? So we're just looking at that also, but I do see this little wedge thing happening here. So if it does fail it, it might fail it hard. And that's my one concern on that. I'm gonna go above here on this account to secure myself some more. I would love a pop. One more good leg up. Looks like it wants to fail 18,000. We're out on that top step X 50K, and we're gonna be still in here. 18,000 just got tagged. So flat 42.50 for the day. Take a W. Went from down 35 to up 42. And we are gonna be happy with a green day again. Like I said, we're trading a smaller account size, smaller share size this week based on our drawdown that we had going on in the account. Another green day. We're going to try and build back to $1,000 buffer, and then we'll start trading micros again, minis again. 18,000 seemed to have held. Realistically though, we did what we needed to do there as far as trailing out our stop. These names don't necessarily need much to rotate back to the downside, right? Microsoft's still holding below 406.18, and Apple tried to break out and failed. So another breakdown. I said 18,010. If you get there, that's that pattern that I'm talking about, right? Higher, lower high, significantly lower high, but also not breaking out above previous significant levels. So 18,000 could fail again, right? So that could be where you fail, and then you get a bigger flush. I'm gonna try it on here. I'll show you the profit that we could take on that. We're in on that. We're gonna risk there, and we're gonna see what happens. Apple failed to break. I'm showing you this short on our 50K funded account. We're down about 4. If we can make 4 on this trade, cool. We could probably make a little bit more than that. But if 18,000 holds, then we're gonna be out and be done for the day. I just wanted to show if we did fail that 18,000 again, if there is potential to roll to the downside. You know, you got Apple and Microsoft both failing to continue that breakup, and Nvidia is holding up. So I'm talking about that lower high at 18,010. 18,010 was that area where I'd say if we do fail this, we're going to probably fail 18,000. If we fail 18,000, we should rotate back down to the low. S&Ps are rolling lower. The reason I got out is the reason I'm getting in on this short. So let's see what we can do here on this short. If we can break down further, I'll add a second contract, right? If we can break down through there, you add a second. But if, we're going to trail the stop. So you're never really increasing your risk. You're just increasing your possibility for profit on that move. You can see Apple failed to break that breakout point. Microsoft also not quite getting through its level there, right? Got to 406.18 and starting to roll back down. If you can get the crack down and the break of 18, just as like a rotational type day, we're going to use the rotational day to our advantage. But if it continues on like our trade would have traded before, then we'll be stopped out on this. Just a quick attempt at a pullback on it. there's a wick that possibly could be a grab. If we flush the 18,000 here, look to see if it goes harder to the downside, and if we can capitalize on that. Nope. Holding 18, holding 18, holding 18. Oh, there's a pop. I was messing around with this one a little bit more so than, you know, being careful with the other account, so you can see a little bit of a drawdown on this one. But like I said, we're pretty green on the day. Pretty green. We're green on the day with the 100K. That's the one we're focusing on as far as our really good executions. This one we are executing. We're trying to shoot our shot with a decent size on it. So if we do get breaking down below the lows and we get an acceleration, we're adding to this. We're going to see if we can add one contract, which seems like we may. That breakdown of 18,000, you see Microsoft trying to push lower and Apple also trying to push lower. So unless this is a grab here to just rip us to the high side again one more time, I think we could possibly get this add on below here, and then I'm going to trail it out kind of tight as we go down. But that did look pretty good. It looks like it's trying to grab all this liquidity above 18 before it takes us down one more leg down. So we're going to see if we can maximize the gain on that end as well. So we caught it on the way up, and now I really do believe if we fail 18,000 again, we'll get that next rotation back down. It's just kind of how this market's been playing the last few days. So let's see if we can do that. Microsoft ticking down, Apple ticking down. I'm going to ignore NVIDIA for now and just observe these names, because really Apple failing to break out and hold failed us at the high here. So if it does continue to push downside, then we should get further downside based off of Apple and Microsoft. And the NVIDIA is just kind of holding us up, I really think. Other than that, I think anything that these names do will either drag us down or give us that little bit of a pressure. So let's see. I'm adding to this if it breaks down. There we go. Pushing downside. If we do break and add, then I'm going to move my stop to a reasonable dollar amount to lose.
Order filled.
We're in on a second, and we're only risking 160. So if it gets back above 18,000, then we're out. But we're going to see how much we can. I want to trail it sort of tight, but I want to see it get down a little bit further before I do. Apple and Microsoft both playing along. There's that 240. I'm going to break even now. So whatever happens on this, it's break even. I don't, actually, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm going above there, because if it does hold and come back here and then rotate down, I want to be in it. I want to keep it. Apple's breaking down. Yeah, we're risking 150 to make 1,000 basically. So 10 times. But if this doesn't, if that wick of the VWAP is just a VWAP wick, then it's all right. But I think we got some room here to the downside with these names not playing along. Tilt's not super heavy short, so we should be good. You see that wick to the break even? I didn't want to do that, so I moved out of there. I want to hold my risk because I had that add, and I want to kind of continue this to the downside if we can maximize our gain. I would even look to add again through that low, man. But now I only have 2 on. That's good. There we go. Now we'll be at break even. So, because now if it doesn't hold, then we're out. I would like to see it below that. Where's that overnight low? The overnight low is 927. We haven't gotten to either the overnight low or the overnight high. So if we can flush through, or even the yesterday's close, we got to it earlier, but we didn't quite get there later on. So we are in the money here on this Top Step X trade, looking to maximize our profit on it. I would love to take it all the way down to the low of the day. If that happens, fantastic. If not, we'll stop at break even. Really just we added a contract onto this. We wanted to see if we can get a flush Microsoft and Apple both looking to push downside. We did break 18,000 again. We could not hold it. We could not hold above it. We tried, and now we failed it. Looking to see some more follow through, but it's kind of just not quite pushing down. Come on, now we need to break the lows again. Get through 90. Hold 90 down below. Come on now. All of this live streamed every single day. I'm being transparent. I flipped this over to here. We do have 2 contracts on at the moment, and we're looking to just trail it as best as possible. We're going to go to VWAP with our trail and see what happens, where we can take this down to now. Looks like it wants to melt off, so let's see. If we get down to 68s there, we should be in really, really good shape. I'm going to go above this candle here because that's the breakdown candle. If it does want to wick above that, then it might want to come back on us. So we're going to just trail it as we see price action going in our favor. And at this point, I'm not going to go back and try and adjust anyway. Microsoft, you can see pushing downside. Apple as well, push down. I wanted to get down to the 180.40 because we just failed that breakout, and now we're pushing downside. You see Microsoft gave you that big push there. Let's see if that continues. We're not super heavy tilt. We're still only 52% short, so possibly still could be holding this. Our delta's breaking down, trying to make new lows above VWAP. We are above VWAP at 91. 93 is VWAP on my quant tower. You might want to be above 93. Same deal here. Fuck it. I'm going to get stopped out here. Nope, we're in a good spot. We're going to see how much we could trail out of this. Yeah, we're out. All right. So down 230 on that. I mean, we made 230 on that trade there. We added 1 contract below the low, and we just trailed above this because if we get that lack of follow through once again, then we possibly, don't get it. But obviously, right to VWAP and rotating down again. So we trailed ourselves out. I wanted to move it. I grabbed it to move it just to leave it above VWAP, but I didn't. And, it is what it is. Done a good job today of managing our positions. I'll stay on till 12 now. I see some pretty good price action going on here. I'm off today. I got to just do some stuff a little later on, but gonna stay on a little longer. Let everybody get some better opportunities if you're in here later. The failure of 18, the failure to break down. We've just sat in this 18,000 area for a while. I was gonna do the Trade Ideas short only contest. It was $7, whatever. I did it, and I just had no access to it this morning, so not doing that right now. This just continuing to the downside. Unfortunately, I stopped myself out there. Shit happens. That was, kicked myself a little bit for that. There's the push, further push to the downside. Damn, that was it. That was the move. That's the one I wanted to see. You can see right here, right now, that was my, that shit happens, I wanted to keep my stop at VWAP, 93. I would have got stopped out at 93 and a quarter. I would have got stopped out by a tick if I just left the stop at break even, but we were trailing. We had 2 contracts on. Damn. That was a good move there. It's all right. We're good. We are good. And there's your little bounce at the bottom. I think we can break it. good moves there. I love this candle. Now you're getting a bounce off of it. We would have been trailed down into there about 1,000. Shit happens. Big time day today, up 40 something bucks, 42.50. Good look to catch that. The rest of this move down. I don't think that we're gonna get a good opportunity to enter yet. We're gonna wait and see. Let me see what Microsoft and Apple are doing. Apple and Microsoft pushing downside. I'm gonna sell one in here. Let it happen. All right, we'll put this up here so you can see it. I'm gonna add again if it's below there, and then we're gonna trail it pretty tight. Look at that bounce. We're adding to winners, so if they go in our favor, we're gonna add a contract, and then we're gonna trail it. But if this thing pops from here, then you're out for a quick $200 loss. Flat and all, you just gave back what you gained. Try to just be quick with certain ones. 50-50. You're getting a high on tilt. I mean on delta, so possible could be that another rotation up, just like it was before. Same reason we took the short after we took the long. Could take the long after the short. It's just a bounce back and forth. I need to leave my screens the way they are because it's very confusing when I do it this way. Top step X. Microsoft, Apple bouncing slight bit, but really needs to break down even further to me. I'm going to shot one more shot at the Top Step X short here. If it breaks down through this zone, I would like to see a continuation based on our price action on all these names, heaviness. The only one, like we said, was NVIDIA that was kind of holding us up. Still tried and failed. Microsoft tried and failed 406.18. It got through 405, which was that gap fill, and now it's continuing downside. And Apple is catching a slight bid right here, but look for it to get up into that area above 74, 75 and possibly fail to continue us to the downside. If not, we continue to rotate back up. Then we rotate back to 18,000 again. It seems like the kind of what we're doing here. 18,000, bounce, 18,000, bounce. It's just been kind of the way of the world the last 2 days. So let's just be cautious on all this. Delta popping off of there. Apple got to 180.74-ish and is not quite rejecting it, but it's not pushing through it at all. It's just sitting there. Stay on until about noon, and then I'll let you know what I'm doing. Overall, up $42 on the day. We have a 50K that we're down a touch on, and then we're up 1,000 on a combine. So overall, just trying to make our moves here. as educated as possible. If we can flush this value area low again, I think I'm going to take that short on here as well. I'll take this. Back down through the value area low. Stop loss above here. 53 ticks. Basically puts us at break even on the day. Value area low there is 74. You want to see this push to the downside some. There's the push down. Apple rejected 74s, 75s. Holding above 80. The 80s love to hold. Let's see if it can hold there. Then we're going to flatten this. If it rotates up into that VWAP, we'll look to see if we can get an entry somewhere. Maybe up by 18,000 again. But if not, if we fail 80 here, like I said, you see it pushing up. Delta not quite pushing up. Could fail the 80, rotate all the way down through to that close. I'm going to add the top step X 50K. I'm going to take the short, same area, 74, 73.50. And then I'm going to add below the low if that's the case of the flush. If we continue to bounce on Microsoft and Apple, however, we will probably continue to rotate on to the upside. Let's see, NQ1, oops, NQ1, bang, there we go. I think we're still able to get down lower. Overnight lows are here. Apple's there, right at the level where we want to sell from. Microsoft pushed back above 405. You know, maybe it wants to close the gap the other way. You know, just clean it up. That gap up there, 405.89, down to 405 even. If we flush back down through 405 even, possibly look to rotate Microsoft down to maybe just that area there. 404.38. That just continues us to where we're kind of at right now. 35. Not too much further to the downside for that area. So there is a bounce opportunity. No rush on this. If it fails, it fails. You know, you're seeing the delta starting to push up now. If it continues upside, then we don't get involved. If it breaks down through 80 and then down through this value area low, then we break through the lows, potentially all the way down to at least the close there at 950-ish, and then hopefully down to overnight lows is what we're looking to catch. There's the failure of 80. Is it just a wick and a bounce, or is it going to actually fail it? So like I said, I'm down below the value area low. I want to accept back into this range. I want to get a good flush. I don't want it to like bounce back on me. Let's see. It should be that flush point. All right, we're in short. Let's see if it plays out.
Order filled.
I want to get down to the overnight lows and beyond. I'm going to add below the lows on the top step X, and on the on here we're going to just move our stop to above 80 if we can break the lows. So right now it doesn't matter what happens in anything else. I'm just going to manage the position I'm in, right? Screw it. Don't worry about Microsoft. Don't worry about any of these other names. Let's see if we can break through the low. Once we get through 70s, I need to see if that'll either make a new low or high, or if we're going to get new lower lows. If we break through the low here, I do have an add at 63.50 on the top step X 50K. Currently, I think any sort of break above here will be out, so we're just going to minimize our risk even by a tick. Apple failed that level twice. Gave you a little tweezer tops for the push down. Microsoft also looking to push down. I think that we do get a next leg down here. If we flush the low, hopefully we get a continuation. Otherwise, we get wicked out and pushed down. I want to get this down to the overnight low, man. That's really the goal. At least. I mean, I keep getting myself out, trailing myself out, trailing myself out. I'm taking profits, but it's, you know, we got to break the low. Microsoft pushing down, like I said, to 34s-ish. It's got to, if it wants to go, Microsoft and Apple also wants to go heaviness. There's your Apple. Microsoft pushing down now too. There's your push to the downside. If we get triggered on the second, we're going to go to our initial entry as the stop. Actually, 81 is our stop. Making a choice. You can see price deciding what does it want to do. It's speeding up a little bit at this area. Is it a double bottom? Is it a add to the bottom if it flushes lower, right? This is really what it's deciding at this 68.37 level, 60.70 level. If we get a good flush, like I said, we have an add on that 50K account, and we have a take profit all the way down at 914. This is going to go to, even if we break the low, and if we get past the add, I'm going to go to where my break even was for the initial, and I'm only going to risk just the add. There's a push down. We got the add on, I'm sure. There's a big flush. Let's see if we can get even further flush downside. We're going to be break even. This is a free trade on this account, and we have two contracts on. You know what? We're even there. Two contracts on for the flush now in the 50K. So we're up pretty good now. We're going to just move ourselves to plus 75 bucks. So we're green. And now let's see if we can get that full rotation down through 70, down to this level here that closed there. We're pushing down very, very nice. Very, very, very nice. We're pushing good. Securing profits along the way as far as trailing our stop. I think we can continue this push to the downside. We talked it through. I'm glad I stayed on for a little bit more. If Apple can break through this low here, Microsoft is pushing lower as well. So I don't see anything holding us back right here. There is some slight consolidation here down below at 52s. So once we get to 52s, you know, we're going to be, you know, actually we're kind of close enough where We can get to 66 on that. 66, we're at 66, 63. I'm going to look to see if we can get through the low again at 40. If we can get through the low at 40, I'm going to trail my stop a little bit. 49. You see that 49 level there is the close from the other day, yesterday. So I'm going to go right to the bottom of this value area at 64. That's where I'm at. If we come back to that value area, oh well, we're trailed out. Do we continue on pushing to the downside, or do we hold? This is the funded account for the day. We're up over $100 on it. And now with the other funded account, we're up past break even. We're not trading our P&Ls, so we're trying to let this thing flush so we could actually make some good money on it. This is the right idea, I believe. We got Microsoft pushing heavier downside. Apple, once it breaks, I think we break. I think this market breaks to the downside pretty hard. If you think that this is breaking hard, wait till you see it actually break hard. There you go. There's the push. That's a nice little move there. We're going to go above this candle. I'm going to go right above that candle there on both accounts. So we have basically brought ourselves back to even on the day, and everything now is pure profit for both accounts, especially this the 100K. We're up 140. Here we go. We're getting the big flush down. I didn't record this, so I don't know how. Maybe I could clip it up with the YouTube version of the stream. But if we can break this low here, I don't want to be out at the low. I want to be out down here. I don't know if we're going to get there. I just want to trail myself to the best of my ability. I go one candle at a time here. We got right to yesterday's close. Once again, the way we've been bouncing off of things, we need to be careful here because things have been bouncing. Do we want to get wicked out? Yeah, we'll take it. We'll keep it at that wick. If it pushes up there, then so be it. But I think it's like that low volume node. That's that candle there. If it pops above it, we're all right. We're going to keep managing this position as best as we can. We're up 70-something ticks on it. 2 contracts, 70-something ticks. We've secured 60 ticks on it, and now we're pushing downside once again. If we break the low, there we go. We're breaking that close from yesterday. I want to break through that close and maybe see if we can get it even further. I want this overnight low tagged. If I want that, do I want to trail my stop? Work on not trailing it too much. We're up 75, 76, something odd ticks on this. 91 ticks on that one. I'm going right above that. Secured 425 on it. Now we're just, wherever we go, we're ending up downside. Let's see if we can push through this VWAP, that standard deviation below VWAP. If we can push this low, come on now. We got to get down to the low of the day. S&P is making new lows on the day. See if Apple can make new lows on the day. Microsoft also pushing, I said 34 was its key level. Microsoft. Oh, man, what a fucking trade. You tell me, baby. You tell me what I'm doing. You tell me if I did the right thing here on this short of the low, breaking down. We were patient all day. We stayed on a little longer than we normally do. If we can crack the low here, let's see if we can get to that overnight low. Once we get to that overnight low, I'm going to trail pretty tight on the stop. The overnight low there at 27. So 27, I'm going to start trailing tighter. Well, at 30, I guess I'll trail tighter. If we could break the low of the day, I think the low of the day puts us even further to the downside. Wild. You know what? Do we take off one contract and leave one runner at the bottom and then just move this to break even? Because that puts us... No, I'm going to leave it. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out for 565 on that account. And on this one, we're leaving our stop where it is, and we're trying to maximize this gain to the downside. Really, I have no qualms leaving this where it is at 59, and we're out flat. Up $118 first day on that Express 50K, and we're up $113 on this account currently. Any pop to the upside right now will be stopped out at 59 for another 60 some odd ticks. We were up over $100 on the day. Another winning day, providing good opportunities, good executions. We're out here doing the best we can to maximize gains. I've been kind of messing with my ads. I'm glad I added on to that last one. I added $118 to my win there. I'm working on, should I be taking off contracts or should I be just trailing the whole thing? That's just, I'm listening to Best Loser Wins, and he has different ideas on he doesn't talk exactly about the trail, or not yet, but he talks about why you shedding contracts when you should be adding contracts. So I'm trying to work that mental state as well. But overall, what a great trade there. Very, very happy with that one. Like I said, you saw before, it was at -4. Now we're at 118. So up 118 on the day on this account. Basically almost exactly the same on the 100K. So really good moves there. And we're going to see how far down we could take the micros here. Do we shed one off, or do we leave it all on and leave it at break even and see where this one ends up, right? That's the kind of like the thoughts that we should be having while we're making these trades. What's keeping you in? What's keeping you out? That kind of selling pressure, but also you have Microsoft, got to that level and bounced. And then Apple also giving you a little bit of a, that's not Apple. That's Apple. Apple actually still breaking down. So really, really nice. This is the last trade of the day. I'll be done. It's 11:45. If we get stopped out here, we're all flat. If we don't get stopped here and we continue on, we're going to stay on until we need to flatten this position. So let's see if this will break down further from here. I want to see if it'll break the low of the day. That's the real question. S&Ps did. NASDAQ did not. So we're waiting to see if this little bit of a wick. Nope, we're out now. We're flat. Flatten it all. Flatten all. Overall, $100 day. Another day in a row of $100 in your pocket. 102.50. 102.50. Not only that, I made it on 2 different accounts. So technically, on 2 funded accounts, up over $100. So $200 on the day. We may come back for the close later, but realistically, we're keeping that winning streak alive. Digging out of the hole in the funded 100K account. Once we get this 100K back to $1,000 buffer, we'll go to trading one mini again, and then we'll dig ourselves out a little faster. We're building that winning streak. We're entering at good locations. We're giving our stops the appropriate breathing room, and we got wicked out there, so be it. But we got our 2 out, and we're very happy with our trades today. So overall, excellent opportunities. That last trade netted us $525 on the 50K account, and the last one obviously 60 something bucks on here. But overall, tick wise, we were up about 100 and something odd ticks on both accounts. So pretty happy there. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns over what I've been doing, why I take the trades I do, what we were thinking about here at the 18,000 level, we did get stopped because that was a beautiful entry up there. We ended up getting stopped just up there. We would have never been out if we left it at VWAP. So be it. We got out down here, but overall, we caught that short right from there. If we would have ended up trailing out down here, that's 164. This is 115. It's interesting. Be able to trail it out, do a little bit better on the trail on this. But the idea was, if 18,000 fails one more time from that 18,010, I was talking about it over here. If we break down 18,000, come back up to 18,010 and don't break and hold above it, then we should fade and rotate to the bottom. So all called out, all talked about on the stream live. Every day we're here on Tradecaster on YouTube. We're giving away a free month if you can get it up to 25 viewers on Tradecaster. So if you're on YouTube, hop over to Tradecaster. It's a 7-day free trial, then a free month. So you'll be able to maximize your gains on it from there. I'm doing coffee over at daytradingcoffeeco.com. You use my username here, Policing Pips, no space. You'll get yourself 15% off on that. Good coffee. Good people over there. It's just me and my wife, so great people. It's a company for traders, by traders, looking to donate a portion of our profits to underfunded traders. So it's going to be a good good thing once we start getting going a little bit further. But until tomorrow, 8:30 a.m., back on it again. Another day, another winning day. We are up to a nice little 4-day winning streak here of at least $100 a day. So we have dug ourselves out of this hole a bit, and we're just going to continue on, especially with this 100K count, just sticking with the micros on the 100K. We're up day one on the 50K 50K express funded 118.60. So if I take any trades later on, I'll film it and I'll post it on YouTube or Instagram. But right now, going to take that break, going to eat something, and take care of some business. So until tomorrow, 8:30 a.m., I'll talk to everybody later. Appreciate you coming by. Deuces.